Oh my god, you guys. I don't know how he found me on Earth, but Large Bumbo's here and he's fucking pissed, guys. So, just in case he kills me, I love you. And the Star Wars New Canon Book Club Archives Volume 3, 20 hours of our old show reviewing Disney Star Wars is available now for free to everyone, even non-members, at patreon.com/SWOCBC. Just go there, patreon.com/SWOCBC. Oh god, he's coming. Listen to this One Act Pack Archives Volume 3 right now at patreon.com/SWOCBC.
SWAT Box Episode 24, Inside the Insider, has been activated. Commence pre-launch sequence. Issue 10, you are clear for takeoff. Original publication date of winter 1990. This is Control. Thanks for listening.
Oh, little Skywalker is stalled. Is that good?
Who was that supposed to be?
That's Greg Proops.
What?
From Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Like little Anakin Skywalker.
The Boonta Eve Padres.
Classic.
I'm from Chicago. I came up with the Groundlings. Guys, welcome back.
Can you imagine any other, like, the Roman gladiators? It's like the greatest gladiators of all time, and a slave child is just thrown in there. Like, do you understand how absurd it is?
I must stress that probably happened.
Here's the thing. Imagine you're sitting there and you're like,
little Timmy.
You're Consummate.
Took a sword to the head.
No, you're
He is
Consummate
bleeding out.
Maximus.
Well, don't be 9.
On top of the dais, watching you're just seeing a ship floating in the Coliseum, a lion leaping on the ship. There's a kid on the lion for a second. You're like,
I'm telling you,
did I just see what I
there
thought?
Probably was a child. Yeah. I would bet in the span of all of Rome, definitely a child who fought in at least one gladiator battle.
You know it.
The point being that it's they treated this child like he's a competitor of this high skill required sport, and they were just like, "Fuck it."
Fuck it.
Dude, it's Tatooine.
We ball.
There's no rules on Tatooine.
Yo, fuck it. We got that Tatooinean accent. Fuck it.
Hey, fuck it. Scruff looking nerf herder.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Let him ride.
Roll Tide. We got Inside the Insider number 10 today. This was a fun one. We're still in Last Crusade town because this was probably a huge hit.
We're not out of the 90s yet.
Yeah,
Or 89.
Yeah.
So far, this the Insider fluctuates between being pretty interesting history or just shilling, just
shameless shilling,
soulless, shameless shilling.
Yes.
And this issue had a lot of history.
It's a nice mix of both.
with little shilling.
A nice mix of both. But it actually is winter 1990, so this is actually straddling the...
Oh, this was in the 90s?
This is 1990, but January.
Because everything in it was they're coming in the 90s, or in the 90s, this will happen.
Yeah.
And it's a wild read, but
you might have got it in 1989.
But it's supposed to be
it's winter.
December, January.
Yeah. So, the big cover thing on it is villains of Indiana Jones. We'll get to that in a minute. First, I want to look at the letters because there was a couple good ones this time that I wanted to read. First one is from Gina. My girl,
Gina Davis.
Gina Davis, that's right. No, she says, "Thank you so much for publishing Lucasfilm member Martine P's letter in a previous issue. I didn't know her before. I decided to write her and we became friends.
That's cute.
She invited me to her home in Perpignan, South France, and I had a wonderful time there. Then we decided to meet again, and we also decided to see The Last Crusade as soon as possible. We gave each other an appointment to meet in London, England at the Empire Theatre to see the film. It is exactly the kind of theater the film deserves. The staff there were wonderful.
That's true. That's a very...
I was fully dressed as Indy? What? Then we took trains and buses and actually found Elstree Studios. We couldn't describe the emotion we felt, even though they didn't let us inside the studios. The receptionist and the guards at the gate were extremely nice to us, and they allowed us to take pictures of each other in front of the wall that says, Elstree Studios, Martine and I will meet again to see The Last Crusade in Paris. We've got quite a friendship developing thanks to the Lucasfilm fan club from Gina Yu in Belgium."
That's very cute.
Yeah, you'd love to see that.
I am curious about fandoms. That has an innocent cuteness to it. It seems like a little much, but it has a cuteness to it. When was the moment it became insane?
Dude, there already was some, because weren't we reading or something about people that after A New Hope to Empire, when they switched up romances and stuff, they were already I am walking away forever.
Yeah, this is dead to me now.
True.
My version of this universe.
Her and
is
Han,
gone.
are you kidding me?
Yeah, literally.
Oh, I
That
forgot.
scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Denise did not like Return of the Jedi.
No, he
I
was
forgot.
pissed.
He hated that.
Yes, Denis Villeneuve was
Yeah.
pissed.
Hated it. That's my favorite little tidbit.
The next one that I have is from Jeff Jakes, who is Canadian from Ontario.
Jeff Jakes is the most Canadian
Yeah.
name I've ever heard.
I'm sorry that I just doxed that guy from the 1990. That was 35 years ago.
You lit him up.
He's gone.
People have a pinpoint location for him. Ontario.
He's gone. He's gone. He's done.
That's like what, 6 people, 7 people?
Jeff, there's no other Jeff Jocks. from
John
Canada.
Smith of Canada. Gotcha. You're done.
He's cooked. I saw The Last Crusade, and I thought it was excellent. I'd like to offer some hope for the future of Indiana Jones. George has said The Last Crusade is the last film in the series unless he comes up with a completely inspired idea. Well, knowing all the great ideas that have come out so far, this is not all that impossible. Harrison even says Indy has untapped potential. And if he's worried about playing a guy in his 30s while he's in his 50s, don't be. George, let Harrison play a middle-aged Dr. Jones if he wants and see where that leads you. It'll be in the 1950s now. But hey, the Temple of...
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But hey, the Temple of Doom proved Nazis aren't the only bad guys. Maybe at this time, Indy has found some nice girl to settle down with and has raised 8 or 9 kids like his friend Sala. Another thing, who says Indy has traveled everywhere in the world? Although he's been to Nepal, he hasn't had a full-fledged adventure in the cold snow. Can you picture Indy trudging along in the deep, cold snow of the Arctic after being dumped there?
I can. I just played that game.
Yeah.
I can also because I've seen Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
So I have him in the cold.
There's like a
it's
weird
not hard.
Sasquatch with him that's like
Yeah.
fucking weirded with my immersion, but it's cool. Maybe chasing or being chased by bad guys with only his familiar garb and weapons to keep him safe.
Literally, he's describing Great Circle right now.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled about this.
Or what about an adventure down under? I don't know what the situation in Australia was like 40 or 50 years ago, but it could offer some interesting possibilities.
Crocodile Dundee and Indiana Jones team up.
Yo, that's a terrible idea.
India's been to Egypt twice on film.
Yeah, you're right.
India's been to Egypt twice on film, but what about him being involved in a mystery surrounding the pyramids of Egypt? I can almost see the Paramount logo fading into one of them now. Long live
Great
Dr.
circle.
Jones, and may he return from movie heaven someday and crack his whip like never before.
I've never been more
Bud, you will
convinced.
get your...
They literally just
Yeah.
read this and made Great Circle.
Right.
Every suggestion is in that game.
I love that.
That's crazy.
I mean, there's been a lot of indie adventures now, but actually, at this time, there hadn't been. And that's why I read this letter, is because the next thing that I want to talk about is the sequels update, which is kind of interesting. Ooh. And there's not that much here. It's a pretty short article, but it's crazy because it's talking about George Lucas, and he's talking about maybe the movies will be out as early as 1997 if we're lucky, and that's like talking in 1989, 1990 right now. And it's because George Lucas, he seems like he's like dragging his feet. It seems like he doesn't really, I think maybe he's like daunted, but he says, there's a quote in there that's like something along the lines of like, they would be totally different. He says, they're not like the first 3 films. The next ones are completely different kinds of movies. The characters are continuing through, but all the actors are different. So it's a completely different look, and it's like a different time period. It's like making a film in the 50s and a film in the 30s. They look very different. So that's like something that he definitely followed through on. And then he also said he was looking for a cheaper way to
it's
do
not
it.
the same characters.
Well, that's true, but he's saying like, you're going to see some familiar faces, but we're going to do it in a completely
But
new-
he's talking about sequels, right?
he's just talking about the new Star Wars.
At this point, I believe, didn't he say he was talking about the next 6? Like he's still
Yeah.
talking
Interesting.
about
They're
like,
just
there's still
yeah.
6 unmade movies, and I feel like after the prequels, it like became less about than the other 3. It's sort of
based on the comments that he's making. I think that his idea for the prequels was to do them as like Charlie Chan's or something like that, and that was like what he got in his head was like, if this is like post World War II dogfighting stuff, we're gonna like go back 20 years in time and also go back 20 years in pulp cinema and do that. I think that he had that in his head, but he also is saying these are gonna be expensive as fuck. He was still looking for the perfect director. He was like, movies like Star Wars, movies like Willow, they only come along once in a while. You don't get to make a beautiful movie like this until you get that perfect person. They quote something from issue 6, which we read, of him talking about like waiting for like a Ron Howard or a Steven Spielberg to come along who can like really direct the shit out of it. Which obviously isn't what happened.
Right.
And he's asking for a lot. He's saying he needs a lot of money to make these movies. And he's saying that he's looking for a way to do them cheaper. And I think what happened was he got so into his idea that eventually he just decided, fuck it, I'm going to like do it myself. And we're going to like invent, like, we're going to like reinvent like green screen technology for this movie. And I think that's like literally like this is like video game log level foreshadowing for the prequels that we got.
That definitely is true.
Yeah.
And I'm curious because like we know a lot about all the advancements made in cinema that he made for like Star Wars and stuff, but they don't say exactly what. He just talks about like to realize them the way that he wants to is prohibitively expensive.
He just has like a crazy
I'm curious,
concept.
like what that is, like what method were you thinking of that you like couldn't do?
He was just probably
there's a
imagining-
lot of like split screening. Like we're already in a lot of the like cool mid tech before just like full on.
Right.
I guess there was green screen or blue screen in some of the stuff.
It exists.
It's like still
just
so
not. It's like you can see it all the way back years and years and years. It's just what they did in
like
terms
you didn't do a whole movie like that.
not in terms of the way that like episode 2 and 3 don't even like really take place on a set ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like even they still remark about how crazy that was. And like, you know, the only other movies that really do that today are like Avengers. And that's only because they have so much money tied up in effects in those movies that it's just.
Do you think the reason why everything took so long is because technology changed so rapidly? Like thinking from 89 to the release of the first prequel movie, the way tech changed and the way they use CGI and the way that from Star Trek, like you think Star Trek 89 and you continue through to the Spielberg movies of the mid 90s to Independence Day. That movie was huge and it was all special effects. So I wonder if he was like, you know what? Well, let's re-release the old ones with some like new shit thrown in and see if we can make it work.
That hasn't even happened yet, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I think that was him practicing.
I think so. I think that was a test.
I also think like, well, this just goes to the theory that I always have about like him being sort of insecure about Star Wars, but like Star Wars by this point is Star Wars. So like one doesn't simply just traipse into another trilogy. Like to him, I think it's just built up like, and almost like this is a good excuse for him to not have to make it. It's like, well, it's too big. My ideas are too big and can't be done right now.
I also think like if you're him, what the reality is that like every single fucking person and their mama is asking him every goddamn day of his life forever and ever, all through the 80s and the 90s. Hey man, when are you going to do more of those Star Wars movies? And he's like, no, I have a very specific idea. And they're like, okay, like, let's get you in a meeting with this guy. And it's like, all right, hey, well, I want to do it like Charlie Chan. I want to do it like 1930s, like we're doing. And they're like, no, this is crazy. You know, like, I feel like he really just got focused on an idea, got focused on the idea of doing it his own way, and then just decided, fuck it. Because here he's still talking about getting someone to do it.
And he just did it himself.
And then I think he just decided, like in the process of developing the effects for the special editions, just like, fuck it. I'm going to make, because when did those come out? 97?
Yeah.
So like, he's got to be working on those for at least a couple years. He probably jumped right into that after this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if...
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, his movies were like, okay, we're going to, as Lucas as a company, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, bangers. But the most banger part of it was there were other directors and other writers and stuff. He just was there to produce.
Well, and that's like what he loved to do, like, or at least what he says he loved to do.
But then after those, Tucker flop, Willow flop. Like he didn't, like I can understand being a little hesitant to jump back in. Like you have all these movies, you have all this cred, and then you like follow your dreams. And then people are like, no, that's not what we want. We want Indiana Jones. We want Star Wars. We don't give a shit about these other things you're doing.
Right.
And it's very George R.R. Martin-esque.
Right.
Where it's like, Why hasn't he released that? Because there's so much, like, he wants to try things. People are like, we don't like that shit.
He's trying
Give
to,
us
like,
what you owe us, fool. And he's like, I just want to live my life.
He's trying to like do his thing still and keep it pure. Like, yeah, it's that thing where like every single person like, hey, you should try this thing. Hey, you should try this thing. And then you never want to try it.
Yeah.
It's like that, I bet. That's the sense that I get.
Yeah. Interesting. Should I go into mine?
Yeah, go for it.
Because he talks about young indie here.
Oh yeah, he teases it like at the end, almost like
Well, and he talks about it a lot throughout the things that I have. So like my first one was about Star Tours opening in the MGM Disney World.
the Florida version, yeah.
One. Let me just flip to the thing. It was another like one of those fun things where it's sort of written like year that is that
Like a
gonzo
recap.
journalism? Is that where you're like, it's here? You feel this like the sweat on your
Yes,
thing on a
that's-
hot
yeah.
floor today.
You
Like,
bring the gonzo journalism is like you yourself are a character in the story.
okay, so then maybe not exactly that, but it's like putting you in the shoes of what it was like to be there. But the opening was like huge. They had Endor sets there. They had like a almost full size Walker there. Cast like Chewbacca, 3PO, all that stuff for the opening of Star Tours. This would be the third Star Tours that was being opened, with Tokyo Disney being the second one, Disneyland being the
Oh, I
first.
didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. And apparently, these Star Tours are like by far the most popular Disneyland rides like ever. Well, at least according to this. Like,
I mean,
just
can you
smash hits.
imagine? Can you imagine like Disneyland has never had anything fucking in it at all besides like
Disney stuff?
movies, and then all of a sudden you can go ride like a thing that was made by the team that made Star Wars that you can only do at Disneyland, and it's got this like insane like military grade. Like people had done motion before, but not like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably like
I didn't even-
mind blowing.
Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher were there for the opening of this.
Amazing.
Obviously, Lucas was. And I guess like Eisner gave like a little speech, and then they made like a joke about like, oh, like everything, we were just missing, I guess, Darth Vader. And then like the Darth Vader theme plays, and he apparently appeared on the roof of like a building and was like taunting them. And Eisner shoots it like with a blaster, which is like
Kills Darth
wrong
Vader.
in a bunch of ways. Like
Eisner shot.
he
and
was
killed Darth
forced to retreat.
Vader. Oh my
But
god!
the idea that like,
That's so brave of
can you
him.
just imagine like the CEO
The
like,
Stones.
puts out a gun at like an opening and like shoots somebody?
That's the closest he
But it's
ever
Michael
was to
Eisner.
Lando. That's the closest he ever was to Lando. That was
You're
the
right.
Landoist he ever was.
Yeah.
He was like, this is the one time I'm going to need to use this thing. Today, violence is the answer. Die, Vader.
I don't know, Michael Eisner personally, just from like his legacy.
I only know
And
him
so
from The
that he
Wonderful
would, like,
World of
do
Disney.
that
Yeah.
and insert himself in that way and do that stuff. I'm
So
like,
funny.
because before, I mean, I don't know who was at the 10-year reunion and other stuff, it's like they let Lucas kind of like be the little like guy doing stuff, and here it was like, oh no, Eisner is gonna take this one.
But Eisner's because Lucas is the guest. Right. Like Star Wars isn't a Disney thing yet. But
Yeah, but I think at the opening of the first one, Lucas did the lightsaber to cut the ribbon
yeah.
and other stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. Other than that, it's just kind of like talking about that little thing, and then all of the I guess what's the name of the gift shop at Star Tours in Disneyland? Like Star Trader, isn't that what it's called?
Star Trader.
yes.
Yeah.
There is called Endor Vendors.
Endor Vendor.
I know. I was like Endor Vendor or Ender Vendors. Like what? It's so close. I get it, but it breaks me a
It's
little bit.
like a joke that you wrote like in the midst of like playing a game on Scary Game Squad.
Yeah, but it sounds like
Classic Jesse. Just bad enough.
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like like a lot of stuff at Disney World. It's like built out a little more. Like there's a little bit more to it than the Disneyland one, but otherwise it's like the same everything, which was sick. And then the end is just sort of like a bunch of just like other stuff about Disneyland and little like bits, of crap to get you like
Hype. Yeah.
just about like Disney. I don't know, just like a little like corporate synergy thing. So that was cool.
It's nice to track though, because I remember when we debuted, I think it was in the first issue where we debuted Star Tours, and now it's like a great success.
Yeah, they were talking about. So this is the first mention of like young Indiana Jones. Like they're like, well, we're gonna open another one in Euro Disney, and they're talking about other potential rides together. Lucas also kept kind of being like, it's about, maybe in like 5 or 6 years or something, like this sort of
More movies?
there's the rides and more stuff, and it feels like, I don't know, between the movies and this, it seemed like there was going to be a big put, like a lot of stuff for Star Wars, both movie and attraction wise. Late 90s was like sort of,
We're very much on the cusp of it.
probably like,
I mean, he did do it. Yeah.
yeah. And I guess if really he wanted some like huge amount, turning it into, instead of it like exploding and then building around it, it being a like fully built package of like rides, movies, all this merch all at once.
I think also
Kinda
what's
makes sense.
going to be interesting is like when we get to the Zoniverse launching, like I feel like in this show we're like it's going to kind of sync up a little bit in a weird way. Cuz there's not a lot of media after these Lando books that we're doing like
we said while reading it, there's a drought,
there's
big drought.
there's like 5 or 6 things and then it's like
there are no books from 83 until the 90s when Zahn makes the
like
book.
a couple comics and like
0 books.
most of it is around the droids and the Ewoks.
God help me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and like several movies and 2 entire television shows. So, if you thought we weren't hard, you thought wrong.
We are very hard.
Yeah.
All 3 of us right now.
We're about to watch some of the least watched files on Disney Plus.
I'm excited. So they talked about like possibility of attraction based on young Indiana Jones character. In that,
Attraction?
yeah. Well, and in the other thing, in the other article, he talked about like future young indie, specifically young indie movies or TV show.
They did have the TV show.
Yeah.
Right,
show-
but like
the show rips.
it's interesting that multiple times it's like young Indiana Jones. There's like the big thing, maybe because I don't know Harrison or whatever, but like
Sure.
just being like that's uncharted territory. And then
Uncharted 4?
yeah, they
Get out of here.
also talked about a Indiana Jones stunt show that I had no idea.
Oh,
that
man.
sounds awesome. Where it was like
I think it still happens.
I mean, it did in the 90s for sure, but I don't.
I think it's still there.
apparently they did a live action recreation of
The Boulder.
Peruvian temple, the Cairo fight, and the battle for the flying wing. And they would like stop in between and like walk
Yeah.
you through how all of it was done.
Yes.
And that sounds as cool to me as an adult as it would have as a kid.
They
There's
did the thing with the plane as the plane. I remember it. The plane spins and that the propellers, and they have the fight as the and he gets hit by the propeller. You watched it live. That was cool as shit. That was awesome.
I remember there's a video online. I watched the whole thing online once, like a cam of it.
Yeah.
But I remember there's one clip of like the guy getting like hit by the boulder in a way that he wasn't supposed to, and he like got kind of hurt.
There's that whole
That's
thing.
part of the
At
lifestyle.
Disney World, there was that time where there was a whole section of the park that was devoted to how the movies were made.
Yeah,
And you could go do it all.
MGM is like
That's like what it was.
I think it's
Yeah.
like gone. Like, is it closing or is
I don't know.
It is like
I remember
already
they had
so
Honey, I
small.
Shrunk the Kids,
Yeah.
and you could ride the back of a bee, and then they put you in the movie. Somewhere my parents have that clip.
Yeah.
Where it's like 7-year-old me being like, ah! This shit's crazy. I love that. And they don't do that anymore.
After we finish the Insider, like a million years from now, I want to see if we can do Indiana Jones. Because I'm so like the way that this is like developing alongside it. I mean, I guess we're probably going to keep hearing about Indiana Jones and Inside the Insider the whole time. But I'm just so I'm so fascinated by how Lucasfilm as a thing is like a pulp company.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, like everything that they've ever made is like pulp. Everything they've ever made. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And then my second one, which was fascinating, was an article called Always in Motion is the Future, but it's all about home video and its impact on like Lucasfilm. And it kind of like walks you through like in the early 70s, there were like very few people that like knew or owned a video cassette recorder. And like it talks about sort of like through the 80s and stuff, VCRs and things became more like well known. It was like, I guess, a rental industry first. Like you did not sell through, which I guess is what is called like when you just sell direct to, like when a person, the end consumer buys the movie from the thing. Like it was all based around rental houses. But as it was kind of coming up, like, originally when they first started selling these things, a movie costs like $100.
And now they cost $100 again.
Over the course of this, I highly recommend, like, there's so much information, I can't just go through all of it, but it's very fascinating. Like, as time went on, like, they would try lowering they kept lowering the price. Over the course of the 80s, things went from like 100 to like in the 20s for a movie. And they discovered that there's so much fucking money in home video. Like, this created the like home
It's like records.
on demand.
It's like records for movies. It was like a whole other way of thinking about movies.
Yeah.
This was the beginning of the end, probably, for like cinema right here, like in the theater.
Lucas.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a bunch of others, but they're just talking about him. In the beginning, we're like, you can't, like, they were hesitant to release home copies of their movies because they're like, this is supposed to be seen on a like giant thing. You're like, it's gonna look like shit there.
Yeah.
But eventually they like released them, and of course they like destroy, the most sold things ever. And they made a fuck ton of money. TV specials, put them on tape. Like, anything Star Wars that you got on a VHS sold like crazy. I actually want to like track down some of these things because they were talking about like people like
A lot of them
would
are on
hunt
YouTube.
them down.
Yeah.
They're like cool. I don't know how legit. Basically, like, there's some, I think, insecurity about the films that weren't commercial successes or weren't critical successes, like Willow and Tucker, because they go out of their way to talk about how every one of those on home video like crushed it and like sold tons.
Yeah.
So, and they kind of made a couple different, like Howard the Duck apparently, like, it was like a bomb, but then was a like huge renter and seller on home video.
You know how like Cthulhu's like dreaming everything?
Yeah.
That's how the movie industry is. Like, this story that we just heard recently, as of the recording of this, like, we're very early in the Trump presidency right now, and we're talking about Rockstar and like the games industry in general, hopeful, like the
They want to
executives.
have $100 video
Yeah,
games?
they're hopeful that games they'll be able to get away with charging $100 a game, and like anybody who cares about human beings is like, number one, fuck off. Number two, if that's what the standard becomes, like the thing that becomes a hit for a company is now so insane that they're going to just fire everybody for no reason from everything. And that's exactly what's like, what this is like. It's like, we have all this, what was I talking about? Why did I lose my train of thought? What were we just talking about?
Home video and like things making money on the.
Yeah. It's like the criteria for success for Willow at the time is like so low, right? That probably selling every single copy that they made was probably nothing compared to like where we were at before the bubble burst, like in like 2015 or so, around there, where people were like buying Blu-rays all the time. And, for something to be a success, like, I don't know, people just like revel in the death of movies nowadays.
Well, it's interesting because I think all three of us, and I would say the majority of people that we know, fell in love with Star Wars as a movie, as a trilogy, not because they saw it in theaters. We all watch it on a small ass screen at home on VHS.
Yeah, we didn't grow up with this shit. We're way too young.
This reading like through this did like remind me, like, this VHS, like, I became a movie lover because of VHS.
Not because I went to a bunch of movies in theaters, it's because I could watch it at home.
Yeah, that and like TNT during the summer when they would just play a bunch of blockbusters.
yeah.
Like, I get off of summer school and I just watch movies that I have
it really
no capacity to even interpret.
It really was our cultural responsibility to keep movie theater going sacred too, because like that's the thing. Like, look at the South, for example. Like, it's hard for me to look at California in this way just because I'm from here, so I don't know what's weird and what's not weird. But like, looking at those like rodeos and all that shit, that's just like stuff.
Cultural.
It's stuff from like a million years ago that there's like no fucking reason why like a bunch of families should still be into that for any practical reason. Like, I know a lot of them are farmers, but like a lot of them are just kind of like enthusiasts.
Sure.
And like that's what's making the money is just people who don't sell cows coming and like eating some food and doing some dumb bullshit. And that part of going to the movies is like the thing that is so valuable, and the feeling of seeing it on the screen and being blown away by it. Like, The only reason that we don't do it as much now is because there's like a generation of young people that just don't know what it is.
Well, the biggest thing
I get it too, where like it's convenient, and like I don't go to the movie theaters as much as I used to because I can sort of get a facsimile of it at home.
Sure.
So
Movies they have a problem in the fact that you are going to a place to be quiet. And like rodeo or any sort of big public group activity, the louder, the more rowdy you are, the better the experience.
But you can be rowdy. It's like
true, but there are many people when they go to a movie, they want to watch the movie. I don't want to hear you say a damn thing. I don't want to see you looking at your phone. I don't want to hear you explaining the movie to your kids. Like there's those people that
that's
exist.
me. I'm that guy.
Yeah, and so
Or like I
But
like
here's the
getting
thing.
into it and like whooping and hollering.
That's what
but
I'm saying, like,
I
I'll
don't want to be able
always-
to hear word. I don't want to like be able to make out your words. I don't want to see your screens.
sure. And if
Don't
you go to
yell
a
at the
baseball
theater.
game or a rodeo or any other a park, that's totally acceptable to do. But in a movie theater, it's not. And so there's just different. Some people are just like, fine, I'll just stay at home.
right, but that's exactly what I'm saying.
Sucks,
That's what I'm
but
saying.
it
It's
is
just
what it
like
is.
people just don't understand the aesthetic, and so
It's
we
so-
can blame
it's-
the industry a lot, but also like we have to.
Well, and also like people's attention spans with the internet and tech. This is
Super
not new.
dead, yeah.
It's so low. Whereas like I don't know, before a fan would reach out to somebody in another fucking country and become like Indiana Jones buddies in England. Like
Yeah.
instead of just being
neither
like
of them are from England either. That's
yeah,
the crazy
like
thing. Yeah.
that's like that was not crazy.
This was before the Euro. This was like they were like traveling across borders to like go see each other.
I mean,
I just
admittedly,
saw, I love theaters, and I have like a projector and stuff, and I like try to get it as close at home to like theater aesthetic as I can.
project on my entire wall. Yeah.
But I went and saw the Blade Runner like Final Cut at LACMA last weekend, and I've seen that movie a million times, and it's great. The one thing, even with like I've watched it on my big screen and it's sick, the sound system they have in there added a new like every gunfire rattled me. Like just having S-tier audio elevated an experience that I've done a million times, and I was like,
plus it was fucking Blade Runner.
no, it's Blade Runner, which is already awesome. But like scenes that I didn't like when like Pris is dying and she's like freaking out.
So scary.
With the way they did the audio, it was like I like got fucked by it. It like hit me in a way where I'm like, that scene has never made me like, or like when he is doing the void comm test and blows the guy away, I was like,
Like right at the beginning.
because the sound was it was crazy, and you're just like, fuck, a room that is designed to be the optimal multisensorial way to consume a movie is unbeatable.
Yeah. It's different.
Let's see what else of this that was important. Releasing the movies, doing like box sets. They talk about letterboxing. Like they started to release the like Indiana Jones stuff in letterbox format, which is like what Spielberg was like, I want more movies to do. Letterbox is like basically you see the entire frame and there's like black bars on it, so there's no panning and scanning, which the directors are like, all right, if you're going to see it on the small screen, at least you're seeing the fucking movie.
Yeah.
And it was, I guess it's huge in Europe and abroad because that's where they put the subtitles.
Because they care and they care about art more
and
less about the personal
Panning and
experience.
scanning, though, by the way, is its own vibe, especially like as a kid that like watched movies on TV where they like have to scan, like, you know, they track the stuff in the frame because it's zoomed in and it looks wrong compared to all the other effects. But it is an aesthetic that when you like when I was rewatching Rush Hour on VHS, and I'm like, it's weird. It sucks, but it's kind of familiar.
It's so bizarre, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like the cussing on cable. Like you're like, yeah.
It's Monday to Friday playing.
Yeah. These mother fathers have to get the front out of here.
what else was going on? Yeah, just like a lot of really interesting TV specials and stuff that came on. They're talking about how people, Star Wars and Star Trek fans, started to buy multiple copies, like one to be pristine, and then a couple to watch, like because
You gotta have triples, dude. You
Well,
gotta
the
have
media
triples.
would wear out, and so
Right.
it's like you have like your nice copy.
That's
your,
a show-off
You're
one.
like burner copy, and then the one that's like it's like just there perfectly.
Gotta have triples.
Apparently Tucker. Oh, and then memorabilia they were talking about, like around this era, memorabilia became big in a way that it really hadn't, aside from like Star Wars, where people, they did like a redone Tucker poster with a different art style, and that sold a lot, and people like really wanted it, which was, they were like,
Again, though, what are their sales goals like compared to now? That's the thing that always is so
Probably
interesting.
because the costs are so low.
It probably
honestly,
it's probably
this,
earnest numbers.
Dude,
It's
that's
probably
why, that's the fucking thing, is that for all of this, there's no expectations. So they like tried stuff. They would do like weird, interesting tie-ins, or they're like, Empire Strikes Back, on when that comes out on VHS, you can get a voucher to buy A New Hope for half off. And when that came out, A New Hope, which already had been a chart topper, recharted again because of this like tie-in, and all these random things they tried keep selling a bunch. And so they don't, now CEOs are like, well, it did this once, so it has to do that or better. And you're like, no, before you got to just try shit and be pleasantly surprised when actual
people
earnest.
just don't actually understand anything. Like, people always poo-poo the idea of caring about art. You know, like these days it's like very like Rogan-esque to be like, whatever, it's just for me, like it's my own experience, blah, 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 blah. But if you don't care about the art, if you don't care about it as being art, then you don't care about the artist. You don't care about anybody involved in making it. You don't care about the industry involved that makes it. You don't care about the machine that creates it being nice. You know, it's like the difference between a cup of coffee that you go get at Starbucks that you pay fucking $5 for that tastes like
burnt ass
shit, and you know, going to your house and making yourself a cup of coffee with like a pour over, and it's great, and you went to the store and bought it, so it, you know, it's cost effective and costs less than the cup of coffee at Starbucks. Man, it just takes a little bit more effort, you know, and that's like something that we've lost at that scale. You know what I mean? And that's a really big.
I mean, effort. Your effort's the key. Even going back to what Davis is like, when you were talking about the two people who met, and you were talking about, you know, fandoms and that kind of thing, the effort for those two people to meet each other is so high compared to today, where two fans can just meet on a forum,
right,
and be like, "Yo, you into that? Yeah, I'm into that." It's minimal effort needed to be in a fandom.
It's not as much of an investment, or it's not even as much of a emotional connection.
Like those two clearly had a connection.
I'm not like a very online person, which sounds weird because my business is online,
Sure.
but like, so
My
like,
business is online.
you know, I make online my business.
Warp Media. My business is online.
And business is mediocre.
It's as good as we could hope for in these terrible times.
Like my friends are people that I like see in the real world, but I do know a lot of people that like their whole friends are like digital based.
Sure.
And it's cool that you can connect with so many people, but I wonder if like anybody that has the same connection as like these two people from other countries that like travel, meet, take pictures. And again, pictures when they were not a cell phone that you had a million.
Yeah.
It's like you took a picture.
Wow.
And maybe a month later you'd find out how the fuck it looked, and it was never that good looking. Like
you and Avril Lavigne, and Avril Lavigne's eyes are like glowing red vampire eyes,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, that's my picture with Avril Lavigne.
I mean, I do wonder if people had the means, like the money to do so, if there wouldn't be more real. Like, I met you online, let's go hang out somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, most people
Definitely.
just can't afford to travel across the world or see a friend.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
I
look,
wonder if that was, who knows?
here's the thing. I bet you more people can do it in Europe than can do it here.
That's also because,
their infrastructure for that is
yeah, Europe also is equal in size to the whole United States, continental.
Also, there may be a few other things wrong with our economy at this time.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Really?
But that's really true. Like, because of those things, because of those economic factors, people don't view their life with the same optimism that they did before.
Sure.
People are more focused on what they can get out of life in the time, like the shitty existence that they have, rather than feeling like we're all going to be heroes one day, like it felt like in the late 90s and early 2000s. And so, you know, when the people paying to make your movie don't give a shit about you, when the people consuming your shit don't give a shit about you, what's the point in making excellent films? You know, it's all passion driven at this point.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
why you get like 1, two, like you get a Nosferatu and a Furiosa every year, and that's it. You know, like there's like movies that are both artistically sound and also like trying to be huge money-making blockbusters just on the bones of being like good. Sure. Very rare these days.
Yeah. Interestingly, like giving a shit about the art, there is like without VHS, which was like the dirty new way of seeing it, you do get new people in
It
there.
democratizes it so much. Yeah.
There's just something about like, there's no easy answer. It's like kind of like, just, you know,
That's
try
the thing,
sometimes to go do the less convenient thing because that's what creates everything.
Yeah.
Like you got to go upstream sometimes to like where the art is made to continue the art, and then also watch your movies at home where it's like easy.
Granted,
and whatever.
we're in a bubble, like living in this city, and I know you didn't always live in Los Angeles, but like, dude, like the amount of movie theaters that has been here for like 100 years is so crazy compared to like almost anywhere else. Like people who don't live in a major city, like, you know, when VHS came out, holy crow.
Theaters died.
Like, yeah. But not even they died. Like, just imagine how much more culture and enthusiasm and like how close you can get to a movie when you can watch it
I will say,
whenever
though,
you want.
I must stress, shout out to
Watch Star Wars
Dayton,
3 times a
Ohio,
day.
$1.25 movie theater.
Yeah.
They would charge popcorn prices and all that shit was normal price. But you could go watch movies for $1.25 after they'd already been out in theaters. You could just go back and watch them. My friends and I don't know, this might have been 90 something. We saw Braveheart like 8 times in the theater.
Exactly.
And every single time we were so hyped to go see that movie.
And imagine you live somewhere twice as rural as Dayton, right? And then somebody gets a copy of Braveheart on VHS, and how sick that would be to be able to just go over.
At the time, that was
what I'm saying,
everyone
yeah.
was fire.
Young
men everywhere were like, yeah.
I remember I used to walk home from school, and we'd save up our lunch money for the week and go buy Chinese food on Fridays at the buffet. And then we would decide whose house we were going to go over based on what movies we had. Like, based on who had what movie. Like, we want to go see The Matrix, we went to one guy's house. If we want to go see Star Wars, we went to one guy's house. We want to watch Saving Private Ryan, we went to the Matrix guy's house because he had The Matrix. Or one time I brought my copy of The Mummy over to the Matrix guy's house because he had the big square TV with the rear projection and the 5.1 surround when cassette tapes were just experimenting with surround sound. Dude,
Dolby Digital.
it was like an event even then to sit and watch a movie, like the way that sitting down and listening to a record used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Me and
now
my
you open a cell phone too and
my
do
like
something else.
high school and like college and even a little beyond, like my friend groups, we would all like LAN whatever game we were playing at the time, which was like Diablo 2 or World of Warcraft, and we'd have like a big TV somewhere that was like playing anime or like movies, and then we would just like play video games and then like watch movies casually and then like watch a sick movie. Either we'd like, all right, we've been all day playing, let's like go out to the theater and then watch a big movie and then come back and like put on like another movie again and play stuff. And
That's
it was sort of like
primetime white boy teenager.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like when you have nothing else to do. But it's like so great.
Mountain
Just
Dew
like,
involved. Yeah.
Ordering a disgusting amount of pizza, like just too much.
like a Caesar each. Everybody,
Somehow wings and also breadsticks are there.
Yeah.
We thought
way too
like,
much soda.
We were dollar millionaires. Like that was like, well, I don't know. When you're that young, you can like kind of eat it, and you're like are fine. It doesn't like ruin your day, because youth and virility. Sure. But yeah, you do that, or like the hot and readies from like Little Caesars, which at the times was valid pizza.
Dude,
to us.
the cheese bread is absolutely insane
You just
at
get
Little
nasty.
Caesars to this day.
We would like get 2 liters and just each drink out of our own
them.
fucking 2 liters.
Yes.
We just crush one for like
Oh
in
my
like
God.
3 hours. You'd crush one. Not even play all of Halo 2, play online all night. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
But yeah, dude, you put on the Matrix and it's like everybody has stopped to watch the fight. Like
Yeah. Doesn't happen
everybody's
anymore.
like, I gotta miss it.
People do. I feel like there's still very much like a scene culture of like watching cool scenes. Like, I don't know where was I sitting just now where I was listening to somebody talk about just watching the scenes. I was literally just listening to something. I don't remember what it was.
Just watching the scenes?
Oh, this show kind of sucks. Just fast forward through I was at the coffee shop and somebody was talking about Castlevania. And they were talking about, just watch the summaries and then watch the fight scenes.
Oof.
Oh, for Nocturne?
Yeah, but like,
I mean, I get it,
guys,
it's slow, but
it's just that type of TV
I've been
watching.
there. I do that with shows sometimes.
I know, but that type
I get
of
it.
cold, calculated, like anti-art sort of consumption of something is kind of, it's just a little bit different than what I grew up on. Do you know what I mean?
so you're saying Davis is a villain?
No, I'm saying like there's plenty of. I see what you're doing.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying there's plenty of. What am I talking about? Oh my god! I'm thinking about Indiana Jones villains now.
Am I one of them?
No.
No, I was segueing to my topic.
I just want to make this last point, but I don't remember what it was. Shit.
What about like watching but not watching?
It's just that like the idea of what watching something is different. That's all it really is. It's like those people are in a world where there's not enough time to consume media because there's like 1 million cool things that has the brands and characters and things that they like on it all the time. Video games require fucking 4 million hours of your time, all this shit. And so literally YouTube channels exist now that are like some of the most popular YouTube channels in the movie sphere where they just explain movies so you don't have to watch them. And it takes 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, and I know we've all watched one, because because it's like, we just want to know because we don't have time to like experience it. We wish we're
a lot of horror movies for me.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
well, I'm not going to watch it, but like, what was that about?
Wait. Oh.
Right.
I'll watch video essay. Well, when they first started, I think that the average, like, the quality of them was higher.
I'm
and then
not
they
trying
kind
to
of
pass a judgment. Yeah.
I'm saying, like, I will not really watch a video about a movie I haven't seen. That seems weird to me.
Well, it's
like,
just
to
literally
catch up
people
on
are
it?
like, well, because people categorize stuff. They're like, well, this is not worth me watching it. I want to know. I want to have the experience because I like Castlevania and I want to be a good Castlevania fan and I want to know about everything that has to do with Castlevania, but I don't want to watch Nocturne because somebody that I care about what they think about me said it was bad. So I'm going to like skip it. You know what I mean? It's just like a different way of thinking than what I'm used to. I want to sit there. I want to soak it in. I want to see what it's trying to say. That's where I meet a
like
piece
I'll do
of
that
media.
for gross out horror movies. Like I don't want to watch a body horror movie. I just don't want to watch it.
But there is
Have
pressure.
you seen The Substance?
I haven't, but I know all about it because I
just
watched
that
a video.
Movie. That movie is insane and cool and
it
also
seems
grotesque.
very cool. I love the idea. I love the concept. I don't want to. I was like, no, I'll skip the end.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fine with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that
There were parts I had to cover my eyes.
It's
That's
stuff,
why I don't wanna
it's
go.
stuff like that. Why things are changing, and I'm not trying to say it's morally bad. It's just what's happening, and it makes me sad because it's my way of life changing, and I'm going to be old someday and whatever. But
There's also just so much media
exactly.
that you can't experience it all, and so I understand when people do clips. I'm not sure I like when TikTok just plays a whole movie.
Yeah,
but I completely get it because there's so many damn kids spending so much time on there,
right?
That you can watch every part of a movie through 2-minute clips on TikTok. It's crazy,
Right. And you're watching it in vertical because you're taking a shit or because whatever. And that's fine for people because they don't understand why it's bad. They don't understand why it would be crazy to watch.
They're not there for the art. They're there for the media consumption.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
not
they
about
are there for the art. They just don't know. They just genuinely don't understand. Oh,
maybe
somebody made this and the entire story is being told on this whole frame. They just think, oh, Deadpool and Wolverine, but I get to see bye, but it's tall. So that's better because I like that part. Because they never have had to interact with any part of the machine that makes the movie because there's been media in their imagination, internet space the whole time that they've been alive. Anyway, what did you bring? Villains of Indiana Jones.
Ah, yes, the villains. So I just want to say for the record, you gave me the absolute craziest 5 pages I've ever read in my entire life. It starts with the villains of Indiana Jones, and it just goes through the 3 main villains of Last Crusade. Julian Glover, who plays the wealthy industrialist
And
Walter
also
Donovan.
Admiral Piet or somebody?
He plays General Veers.
Yeah, Veers, yeah.
Yeah. Again, known to nerds for General Veers and Empire Strikes Back, but most importantly, just a bunch of British shows.
Oh, yeah.
He is a dude who, like many British actors, nails an American accent so well, it's aggravating.
Yeah.
Because I must stress, the Brits can just do American accents, and when we're like, we sound terrible.
Idris
Terrible.
Elba, what the hell, man? What the hell?
There's
Idris
a
Elba?
bunch of like actors where you hear them and you're like,
Rick Grimes.
You're not.
What the hell, dude?
You're not. What are you? You're British or?
Yeah.
It blows my mind every time.
Alan Cummings is like Scottish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does apparently a fucking reality show that's super popular that my sister was like showing me.
I must
And
stress-
I thought he was British because a lot of times they give him British roles. So hearing him in his actual native tongue, I'm like, is he doing a bit?
Let me tell you about-
sounds like he's doing a bit.
Let me tell you about all British media for a minute, and you'll start to see one of the things about that government and
I must stress. So
culture.
the show that she's talking about, first off, Alan Cummings' version, it's all celebrities. Ignore that shit. Watch the British version. It's traitors, and it's literally a bunch of just normal ass British people in a mansion, just like
betraying
each other. It's like werewolf kind of vibe.
They're just playing, like Secret Hitler, the
Yes.
dumbest, longest,
But it's-
stupidest. I don't know.
But it's just
Believe it or not, I
normal
don't love
British
reality
dudes in the British
shows.
version. And it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's a
anyway,
very popular show format at this time.
Yeah. So Julian, they ask Julian about his character. They're like, so what's this, you're an industrialist. What's that vibe? The way he describes him, I swear to God, is exactly how you describe Mark Zuckerberg. It is perfect description of Zuckerberg. And I was like, whoa. And I wrote in the notes, it's wild to me because I didn't want to read too much into something that, was made in the 80s. But he says he's smart and bright and talented and a businessman. He's also affiliated with the Nazis, quote. That's just the thing he did.
I think that just might be businessmen in general, dude.
Currently, yeah.
No, I think back then too. I think it's just kind of how they are all the time.
Well, he then says, and I love this because he just straight to the. This is actually, there's some really great quotes in this entire piece because they're all villains, they're all playing Nazis, so they have like thoughts. And he says, a lot of people in the United States would deny it, but there were many affiliated with the Nazi Party during the time. So, needless to say, this is not a nice aspect of my character. So there you go.
I love that he's so clinical about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because they asked him, they're like, what's it like playing a Nazi? And he's like, well, my character's supposed, like, he thinks he's a good guy. Like, he's doing the right thing, but he's clearly allied with the wrong people. He goes on to talk about, all the work that went into trying to capture the role. And then he's asked, a bunch of truly pandering questions like, do you feel Spielberg is truly an actor's director? And what's your impression of Harrison Ford? Like, what is he going to say?
He's cool.
I hate them both.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah.
So he just goes to say how much he loves them. And then what I did learn is that his wife in the movie, in that scene where he meets Indiana Jones, is his real wife. And
That's
they gave her
kinda
one
awesome.
line in the thing because they're like, wouldn't that be funny? And they did.
Wait, which?
When he's at the party and he
Like in that
approaches him,
back room and yeah, like before he takes him in the back room to talk to him.
Oh, okay.
it's like one line of dialogue she has. And then Alison Doody, who plays Elsa, the German spy, is another British actor
Yeah.
who just killed the accent game. And all of her questions were total bullshit. Like it was very different from like asking the man a question.
Yeah.
Her was like, so what was it like?
Was he afraid of being with all the big scary rats?
Dude, yes, that's literally what they were like. What I wrote down some of the questions like, what inspired you to become an actor, and describe your impressions of Sean Connery, like that kind of thing. And the one question I did love was the rats. They asked her what it was like to work with rats, and she straight up was just like, rats are cool. They were all really clean. At best, most of them were fake rats. They were just sweet little dudes. I'm like,
Dude,
that's awesome. I love
do
that.
your-
Guys,
Yourself a favor.
Rats are just small dogs.
Yeah.
They're like, and they're very clean.
Do yourself a fucking favor and go watch the clip of Harrison Ford, because Harrison Ford grew up with rats. He's like a rat guy. And so there's all these pictures of him on set, like seriously, like grabbing the rats and like kissing their faces and laughing and like just loving life playing
They're
with the
not going to
rats.
stick like dirty ass rats
No,
on set
yeah,
with
You tickle
actors.
them and they laugh.
They're animal
Yeah.
actors. They're like they're from LA. They're working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, coming.
Yeah, and they're smoking weed because
They
they
get
know
paid
it's
hourly.
better for you than weed.
They get a day rate.
Cleaner.
And it doesn't linger.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
And then Michael Byrne, who plays Vogel, the Nazi commander,
Yeah.
he is clearly a fan of Indiana Jones. He was like, I saw Raiders so many times in theaters. I was so excited to be a part of this. When they were like, do you want to be a Nazi? He was like, hell yes. I can't wait to die on screen.
I feel like he's like silent in the movie almost, but he yeah.
Is a big
He's in
character.
it a lot, yeah.
Yeah, they asked him, what it was like. You're like, so when you played the Nazi, what was it like? He's like, I got to drive a tank.
Yeah, that was tight.
Is just because when you see him in the movie, he seems like buttoned up and evil and like really tough. And him being like, guys, I drove a tank. It was awesome. Is very cute. They ask him to describe his
Yoda
character.
is the coolest because he drives.
He drives a tank. They ask him to describe his character, and he gives the best response. He just goes, he's a Nazi, which tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
They said, can you go deeper? He's like, he's a good Nazi.
Yeah.
And like, that exactly describes.
He barely talks. He has blonde hair. He's like, he looks like a weird, like.
He's a bad guy. He's literally just a bad
like
guy.
a weird baby face, pretty face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then.
That like reminds me of during the mailbox episode where the guy like broke down, like whether or
the
not
Imperial
like Oswald was good.
officers
It's like
etiquette,
it's just like about being like a good Nazi or like a good that is like you're a terrible person and you will climb over anybody and you will just like be sort of like a feckless, just like
Yeah. And he's like, he's a very good Nazi. That's all you need to know. He's like a bad guy. And then hilariously, the article cuts off and we suddenly have maybe 3 pages of merch
yeah.
just in the middle of the article. And there's tons of new Lucas merch, posters, limited
And
edition prints.
your article is like full color also, which
Yes.
the rest of the articles are not.
And then it cuts
Yeah.
to a black and white of all of these things. There is right off, like the first thing, a signed 10th anniversary Empire Strikes Back poster for $25.
with everyone's signature on it.
Yeah, I can't believe that was a
I
thing
mean,
that just
$25
exists.
is like expensive in the 90s compared to now.
Still,
but
though.
not by much. Yeah.
Still, that's crazy.
yeah, getting that now is like $1,000.
At least.
Then they had a Japanese poster for The Last Crusade, which if that existed, I would have bought it immediately.
It
T-shirts.
did apparently.
Yeah. T-shirts, model kits. They had a 1990 calendar that was Star Wars. They had all the masks again. And I just would like everyone, if you can find this issue, please go look at 1, the Yoda mask, and 2, the
Dude,
Chewbacca mask.
It's the masks that like have holes, then they just don't give a fuck.
The Chewie mask, he's like sassy Chewie. His eyes are like little side eye. I don't know why that's in that. I don't know why they made that mask. It's amazing.
Hilarious.
And then they have pins and patches. The craziest thing, they have the knife that Indiana Jones uses to cut the bridge that
What?
kills Molram.
Oh,
literally,
like the big machete?
the like Bowie knife. They have that.
What
you can
the hell?
buy a real ass version of it.
That's
You can
crazy.
buy his hats. You can buy jackets. You can get a whole
That's
Indy kit.
crazy.
So that woman who showed up dressed like Indy, I believe it. You could do that. And then at the end,
They sold in the previous ones, they probably still have here, like the company that manufactures his clothing and like the hat for the movie, you just can get
it.
It's like a 1-to-1. It's not even like a replica. It's just the hat.
That's different time, man. And then, of course, the last page is just the order by mail form, which I still think is so cute. Just remembering back to a time where you couldn't email, you couldn't call, you just sent in money and a thing, and then they sent you stuff, which is absolutely crazy.
That's like so. I haven't done that probably.
25
Yeah,
years.
I haven't done it in so long.
Yeah. And then immediately we jump back in to Nazi conversation about Vogel, which is crazy to me that they did that. And they ask Byrne, tell us more about this role. And he just says some timely ass shit where he says, he's asked if he feels that the film portrayed Nazis accurately. And he replies, I think it's theatrically accurate. By that, I mean it's larger than life because the situation is larger than life. But there's no question the Nazis would have behaved and looked and had the attitude that Vogel had. I'm also quite glad that the Nazis were used as villains because they're worthwhile villains. People have forgotten what they were like, and it's not a bad idea to remind yourself of what they did.
Very true. Very
And
true,
then-
sir.
Yeah, and then they say, do you think it's important that that in the film they showed Vogel meeting his end on screen? And he replies, sometimes it's not necessary. I can think in the case of Vogel, though, it was. Because
It's very
he is the
satisfying.
product of a very evil society and should get his comeuppance. And
Yeah.
I was just like,
Plus, it
this
was
man's speaking hard truth.
Plus, it was an action sequence in a tank, and he was the tank commander, and
Yeah.
it was sick. Yeah.
You got to go.
But if you watch that scene again, they ragdoll his ass down that cliff.
Dude, it looks gnarly
It's
when his little
awesome.
head is poking out.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, by the way, to answer your question, this could be yours it's a B2 size. It's like fully big, about $150.
What a crazy... It's just a photo of the two of them. It
It's
looks like a headshot.
It's like a publicity photo of Sean Connery and
I want
Indiana
that as
and
like a
Harrison Ford.
lunchbox.
They're
It's great.
in their outfits, just like tight on them, like medium. And then in the bottom corners, like next to the title, is like on one side in a small box is a picture of George Lucas.
George Lucas
and on the other side is
Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg. It's so cute.
That's crazy.
And it's $150 on eBay. So if you do want it, you can put your money where your mouth is.
I want that on a shirt though.
Oh, that's lit.
If I have that Star Wars shirt, I want that one too.
Yeah, you can put it next to your fuck to death light.
Hell yeah. And yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, and that is Inside the Insider number 10. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Oh,
and
also random thing I remembered. At Endor's Vendors. They actually sold the Insider, like you could just buy it there as physical.
Fascinating.
So
Little Skywalker is stalled. I'm Greg Proops, and this has been Whose Line Is It Anyway? See you next time. Keep your friends close and Drew Carey closer. Bye.
All right, Swakbox, you're clear for landing. Inside the Insider is edited by Alex Del Campo and Alex Faciane. The theme song is Jupiter, Bringer of Jollity by Gustav Holst. Thanks for listening.
Attention please. Star Tours Flight 1119, non-stop service to Endor, is now ready for boarding at gate number 1.
Swakbox episode 25, Inside the Insider, has been activated. Commence pre-launch sequence. Issue 11, you are clear for takeoff. Original publication date of spring 1990. This is Control. Thanks for listening.
Issue number 11, fellas. We are about at the halfway point of the Lucasfilm Fan Club magazine. Welcome back to Inside the Insider, which is creeping ever closer. My dream, right, is that when we get to Heir to the Empire is about the same time that we get to the actual birth of the Star Wars Insider. And we're about halfway there. And this magazine is like back on the Star Wars train big time, weirdly, even though it's in 1988 or in 87 or something like that, 89, something like that. We're just talking about Star Wars again. And I forget what's...
Is this after all the Indiana Jones stuff?
This is literally the next issue, yeah. So
then this is winter 90.
Yeah, the spring 90s. This was the second issue.
my
yeah.
God.
Because the last one was also after Last Crusade came out.
But that was winter 90.
Yeah.
Right.
The early winter 90s.
Right.
Yeah. And so now we're in spring. We've got some stuff, and there's like some evolutions, I think, taking place that I could point out inside the magazine as well. So I wanna start with the letters, just because I'm here.
Just because
By the way-
I'm here.
Well, because it's the
By
first
the way,
thing.
the picture they have for the fan forum, it's an image of Vader fighting Kenobi, but it's the single coolest.
It's like never...
It has the like comic book Vader's hand is down. It makes this fight seem like it was fucking sick instead of like a little pokey fest. I was like just looking at this, I'm like, boy, this like makes you think that this fight was something else.
I mean, it's why we've now seen 4 different versions of that fight redone by fans.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everyone kind of wanted it to be more than it was. But also, it's 2 old guys, like...
Or like in the book, it's cooler because there's also a like mental...
Right.
And you don't have to worry about the tech breaking on the day and everything else and actors who are...
So
older.
in the fan forum section, they like slightly expanded the fan forum section. It's the first time I believe that it is extended to another page. But the reason for that is because they also issued like basically a press release in it. So I'm going to read a couple letters first just to get us there, and then I'm going to read this other thing first. So the first letter today comes from Darren, who is from England, and he says, "This is the first time I've written to you, but there is so much praise about the club, I just had to write. I have been a loyal Star Wars fan since 1977 and a loyal fan of Indiana Jones since I first watched Raiders in re-release at my local cinema in 1982. So these people are over 10 years Star Wars fans. Some of them, we're getting to the point where there are people who have been Star Wars fans for 15 years, which is crazy.
Wait, he watched it on re-release?
In 82.
So he didn't see it the first time around.
Yeah.
I would love... That's what I want to know more about, is why this guy was like, huge Star Wars fan, love you, George, love everything you do.
Missed it.
Didn't go see that other one.
Come on,
though.
Darren. I've grown up with these films, and they have become a very important part of my life. No other films can touch them for sheer excellence. The only complaint with them, as every fellow fan would agree, is that they are not made as often as other sequels. It would be great if they were made as often as the James Bond films, but quality, not quantity, has always been Lucasfilm's trademark. I have a massive collection of...
This man found his monkey's paw, and he was like, I got it.
Yeah.
I wish for more Star Wars. It's like, crap.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of that in my article.
I have a massive collection of Star Wars, especially, and indie memorabilia, and I never tire of them. I joined the original Star Wars fan club back in 1983 and thought it was superb. I was devastated when it finished and prayed another club would start, and I learned about the newly formed Lucasfilm fan club in 1988 as us Brits always get everything last after America. I joined in summer 1989.
He really did find out. He got everything he wanted.
Yeah.
Now they get everything first.
Yeah, I joined in summer 1989. I haven't regretted it since. I think the new magazine is much better than the black and white Bantha tracks of the old days. It is so well laid out, and honestly, I agree. Like the Bantha tracks, if you have a chance to read through some of those, I would. If you're like a big Star Wars fan and you're in on our mission, eventually we'll touch them eventually in some way. I just thought it was a great place to start here because it started at the 10th anniversary and we would catch up. And, you know, I don't think anybody really remembers this magazine that much anyway.
No.
Not to mention Bantha Tracks. But Bantha Tracks then revives in Insider. I think they call their letter section Bantha Tracks for like many years.
That's cute.
I think. Don't remember though. I'm very old.
He is making a promise that that's the case, and if it's not, we just send him hate.
You've lied to everyone, as usual.
It is so well laid out, the color is lovely, and the photos are great. But what of the contents? The magazine is very informative and always covers everything Lucasfilm achieves, past and present. Your interviews are also brilliant. You have interviewed the greatest movie makers and actors in the world. The George Lucas interview in number 6 and the Steven Spielberg interview in number 8 were superb. I have to get back issues to read the Harrison Ford one. As I eagerly opened the large envelope and read issue number 10, I was absolutely engrossed. In fact, I couldn't put it down. Even my dinner wasn't important because issue number 10 was so great. The fan forum page is good.
Look, I've been there. When there was a book that came out that I was into, my parents had to like take the book away from me.
Big time. I would read the Scholastic Book Club catalog and be hyped. Anyway.
Yes, and I'd be like, I can't wait to go to the book fair when it comes.
Yeah.
I genuinely growing up with no money to buy the books at a book fair is like
insane.
I was so jealous of kids who would get the books.
Who were allowed to read.
Yeah, and that's a crazy thing to think about where I was like, there was a part of young Jesse who would have stolen a book if he could have gotten away with it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about.
You don't need to steal them. You can check them out at your local library.
I'm aware. Which is crazy.
My school librarian used to hang out at the bookstore and be like, we got that book. Just so you know, we have that. We have that in the library right
That's
here.
like, I don't know that it's a little gauche, I would say.
I
if I think
disagree.
I know how that word works.
You don't want to infringe on Scholastic's ability to make money off the children?
No, I'm just like, it's just like a weird bit to camp out at a bookstore and be like, we have those.
If everybody acted like that instead of how they did act in those 20 years since then, 20, 30 years since then, we would be in a better situation today. I think they would be called, in issue number 10, my heart started pounding when I read about the new Star Wars films, which if you remember, we did talk about briefly because they did say they're thinking about it.
Oh, we'll talk about it again.
Yeah. I think they will be called the Clone Wars, and there will be as much characterization and action as the other 3. 5 or 6 years is a long time to wait, but we've waited 7, so I guess our patience will hold out a little longer. And he was about right. Like, he was maybe like 2 years off from that. And I think that's because the movies went into production twice, kind of. You know what I mean? They started to do it, and then they were like, we can't do this. And then George was like, what if we do it a new way with blue screen and Rick McCallum? And now it's like its own thing again. I'm looking forward to your coverage of the 10th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back, which is what we're in right now. Long live the Lucasfilm fan club, and may the force be with you, Darren. He's from Hence. That's pretty great. So that's the first letter. The next one, I have to like scroll because it's split between the split in the paper.
Sure.
This one is from Diane Wallace from Ventura.
It's the one that starts
Diane.
absurdly.
It's the one right here at the end. It says, let me say that I, as well as everybody from the corner comic shop owner to the church minister to the common housewife, am delighted to hear.
That's where it ends, and you're like, I have to know what the fuck you're about to fucking say right now.
Yeah. And she said,
You hooked me.
She said, news of George's plans to make another Star Wars film.
Okay, actually,
True.
No, that's
I saw
legit.
that. I saw a minister cry about Rise of Skywalker, and he was quite
a
I've seen
conversation
that
piece.
I've seen that video.
He was quite a conversation piece for a week when people were like, just let him enjoy stuff.
Yep.
My friends are all in their late teens and early 20s now. If the next movie does not come out till 1997, we'll all be taking our own kids to see it by then. Please call Ron Howard and ponder it now.
Not that far off. 97 was the re-release.
Yeah, 97 was a special edition. 99 was Phantom Menace, and Ron Howard eventually made Solo. Now we're going to talk about, and forgive me here, guys, seriously. This is from Edyta Biernacka from Drohisen, Poland.
I think you nailed it, maybe.
I can't fully read the letters of her name 100%. I think that's what her name is. I can read the English words better, even though I can't fully make out the letters, so I'm going to try that. I'm 17 and a Polish girl. I love the movies of George Lucas, which is something that an American, I feel like, wouldn't say. I love the movies of George Lucas.
17 in 1990
Yeah.
would have put her at 7 for Star Wars.
Like the actual, for Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. So, like, she probably caught the first one as a kid.
Raised as a kid on it. Yeah, yeah.
Some days ago, I received the Lucasfilm Fan Club magazine from Barbara Margarison, producer's assistant, Lucasfilm UK. Like, she got it from her directly? I don't know.
Maybe.
I just thought I would write to you and say what I think of your magazine. I've seen only 2 of your magazines, issue number 3, spring 88, and number 7, spring 89. But I think they're wonderful. I've enjoyed them very much. I enjoyed the article on Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford. The interviews and pictures are all interesting and exclusive. The print is easy to read. Photographs are clear and fine. Bravo. It's a very big pity that I can't buy your magazines. Keep up the good work. So this person literally, just to be clear, at this point,
Got a magazine from someone who worked at Lucas.
yeah, we are in a
Because they couldn't get it.
in England. This person works for Lucas. So this, or maybe Scotland, I don't know, or Ireland.
This
the
person's
UK.
Polish.
Yeah.
And got it from one of them.
So just to give you an idea, like the reason I read that one, because I read the first one because I thought it was funny, like how much stuff they would write about, how that person was like, it's going to be called the Clone Wars, it's going to be this, it's going to be this. But this one I read because I wanted to highlight that we are not in a globalized society in this time period in the way that we are now.
sure.
Like if you were my age or Jesse's age or Davis's age in this time period, you can remember what it was like to like have an element of mystery about like video games, to have an element of mystery about like
Dude, I lived in England
when
for
things
2
were coming out.
years, and the whole bit about it being
behind.
is so true. I got to like bring, because Pokemon was all the rage, I got to bring shit that they had not seen and would not see for like years, or at least almost a year. It's like we're in the future with entertainment and other
Yeah,
stuff.
that's how it was with
But then,
Japanese
like,
kids.
yeah,
for me.
Japan is like
You don't
other
even
level
know.
for
Yeah,
me.
you don't even know. Our cell phones can like
Wipe our butt.
That
close cuts
that
on
was
our
the
body.
craziest stuff. Was like reading gaming magazines, and they were talking about like Game Boy Color. I think had like you could plug it into early phones and other stuff, and it just you're like, what is this future? And now it's kind of dull.
Yeah.
So then the fan forum section has one other thing in it this time besides letters. Deadass, it's just a press release in there, just tucked in there. It's why the thing got cut off. It says, Lucasfilm Limited Television involved with new series. Now, just imagine if this occurred, because this did not happen. Just listen to this. Lucasfilm Limited Television is breaking into live-action series television via basic cable network, The Family Channel, which is now...
That was an ABC property,
Yeah.
Family.
Oh, maybe it's ABC Family?
Yeah.
Yeah. In cooperation, so it's Disney. But I don't know if it was Disney yet. I think Disney bought ABC in 1997. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
because the Family Channel was up there in the cable numbers.
Yeah.
But
You
I
needed,
don't
to have,
remember-
you needed to have a Disney Channel type
Yeah,
channel.
yeah. Let me see. I'll research.
But it was supposed to be the Family Channel in a co-production with Toronto-based Atlantis Film Limited, which sounds like a crypto scam.
It sounds like the people that would produce like Stargate SG-1.
Yeah, like literally. The new partners are committed to 22 half-hour episodes of a broad physical comedy series, Maniac Mansion, which Lucasfilm Limited Television will produce at the Cinevillage studio facility in Toronto's.
Did Maniac Mansion, the game, already exist?
Yes, I think.
Oh, by 90, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
The Family Channel will air the series on Sunday nights beginning in mid-September as part of a new comedy block. That's in like several months. So like, did this come out? Family Channel will air the series on Sunday nights beginning in mid-September as part of a new comedy block. And the Atlantis distribution arm, Atlantis Releasing, will distribute internationally. The series will be scripted by some of the alumni of Second City TV, which is like...
This is real?
SCTV was like that show that's like the SNL of Canada that had
Yeah.
like John Candy and Eugene Levy and Rick Moranis and all these guys on it that were like amazing.
This is based on the game.
Michael Short, Paul Flaherty, John Hempel, and Don Lake are in it with, and Eugene Levy is supposed to be the star. He's supposed to be writing Maniac Mansion. and starring in it. Did that happen?
Yo, this is crazy. So the Family Channel is not Disney Family, although it is modeled.
No, he's not on there.
It is modeled after it, but the Family Channel is a Canadian-owned property.
Wild Brain Entertainment. They make stuff that we've done brand deals with. I
Eugene
think.
Levy was a guest star.
He was a guest. He's the top billed person, and he's supposed to be writing the show. Maniac Mansion is loosely based on a Lucasfilm computer game already being marketed. It's also headed for release as a Nintendo game in September. So it was coming, but this was part of the media plan for the game. The series is about a bizarre family with an inventor as the lead character. One of the characters is a 6'4", 250-pound 4-year-old. Production began in July. The main thing, said Terry Botwick, VP of Original Programming for the Family Channel, is that it's a family comedy that has family values. So I guess it did.
Family values.
I guess it did come out. Did it air?
It did.
It came out just in Canada, though, right?
So Family Channel is also part of Disney Junior. I don't know. It seems like it's got a lot of like webs.
There still are weird rights for like distribution, but back then it's like wild, like
Yeah.
country to country, different like
Yeah, this literally straight up just had Playhouse
for
Disney
3
was
seasons
on it.
actually, from September 1990 to April 4th, 1993.
So
Crazy.
to celebrate the, I would love to see that show actually. Like I had no idea that existed. That's like a mind fuck to me. There's a comic to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back, and it's a joke. The joke is that it's the cast party. This comic is by Lisa Cowan and R. Tomasic, and it goes like this: they're all standing around a big cake that has a 10, and it's Chewbacca and Luke and Leia and Lando and Yoda on one side, and then there's like an Imperial officer, Vader, and a Stormtrooper on the other side. And Leia's like, I have a bad feeling about this party. And Yoda's like, use the forks, use the fork, use the force. And then Vader's like holding a fork, and he's like, I wonder how that we're all planning to use our forks. Vader is planning on smashing his cake in Luke's face, and Luke is planning
There's
on smashing
so much going on in these three
on
little
his
images.
cake. There's like all kinds of like little jokes and gags happening, and then Luke plans on cutting this cake with. It's like they drew 4 comics and then just used them all.
They were like, "What does everybody have an idea for this?"
They're all
great.
like one panel gags, but they're like all different. So like there's one where Luke's gonna cut the cake with his lightsaber, and then there's one where inside the cake is R2-D2. Not really that funny, but nevertheless a party and a half.
It's there.
So that is the new face of the magazine. That's where we're at in issue number 11. A lot of stuff going on. I found out that Maniac Mansion actually existed. Didn't even bother Googling
If you are,
And critically, it sounds like it got good
Did okay.
reviews. Like they liked it.
If
for,
you
for
are
gaming
a,
fans, they were not a big fan of it.
like a random person who just wants to see, you can go to YouTube right now. Maniac Mansion, Season 1, Episode 1, Season 1, Episode 2. They're there.
Oh, he's got the created by. Levy's got the created by on it. Levy's got the exec producer on it. The show thematically has little in common with its source material.
Yes, it is definitely not the same as the source material for sure. Just watching Episode 1 right now, looking at it, nah.
It's a super science. Martin Short was in this show. Dave Thomas was in this show. Not the
Time called
Wendy's
it the
one.
looniest, sweetest family comedy of the year. Los Angeles Times described the show as a stylized, sharp-edged comedy that's a bit like David Lynch on Helium.
Yeah. And Joe Flaherty's the main character of this show. Do you know who that is? He's like the SCTV god. He's Lindsay Weir's dad in Freaks and Geeks. That
Yeah.
guy?
Interesting.
He's also, I forget the other thing that he's in that's huge, but that's his big.
Oh, shit, he died last year.
Yeah, he's the heckler. He's the dude in Happy Gilmore who's like yelling at him the whole time. Anyway, that guy is the main character of the show. I had no idea that this existed. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah. The cast is crazy.
I'm literally losing my mind.
That is crazy.
What do you guys got?
I got the big feature article this year.
Big Ten.
This issue, which was an interview with Irvin Kershner, who was the director of Empire Strikes Back. This was like tight.
This was a meaty boy, yeah.
This was a pure, like some of the interviews are like fluffy, and I guess the questions are like whatever, but
Like, can you
Irvin
get-
just
Yeah.
talks about, he like says it how it is, which is really cool. If you have access to this, just read it. Because I'm going to try to recap it, but there's like so much cool
I
stuff
don't know
in
that
here.
there's an official way to get access to these things, but there's this website that is made for this exact purpose of archiving things. I'm not going to tell you which website it is, but there's a big archived.
It might be an organization.
Yeah, it's an org that is there to archive.
Interesting. Interesting.
I don't think this is the kind of thing where you're not taking money from anybody. This is like history.
I'm sure somebody out there's some lawyer who's like, well, we're going to sue you, but I think you're fine.
So Kirsch is how people refer to him, I guess.
Hey,
know him.
Kirsch, big Kirsch.
He got his background started in music and art. Like at a young age, he studied the violin, the viola, and composition. He went to Temple University and then the Tyler School of Fine Arts, and he like studied under, I don't know this guy, but like a famous painting teacher named Hans Hofmann. And then he went to USC Film School, which is when he started doing films. He took classes under Slavko Jorkovic, who was a great montage artist, which is like
Just an editor.
an era of like film where you could be like a montage artist. Is like now you just have to do it as anything. It's just like
editing. It's editing as art.
yeah.
Yeah.
He got caught up in a bunch of documentaries.
We still do montage like that. By the way, we just don't give it its.
You're
flowers.
not a montage artist.
We just don't give it its flowers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like different, or it's like been integrated into just a larger category. But yeah, so then he was doing a bunch of documentaries for a while. He taught at apparently USC Film School because he's older than George and like knew George when he was coming up. And I don't know if he taught him directly, but was a like person in USC that was like when he made like THX, he was like, this is great. You got to like send this, and like got whoever Fox or no, whoever MGM, whoever like released it to like release it. And then he just also did a bunch of movies. He did several really acclaimed TV movies,
Like what?
which are The Raid. It was nominated for 9 Emmys. And not The Raid. Oh, sorry. The Raid on Entebbe
Okay.
What?
and Traveling Man, which was like a John Lithgow HBO film.
Do you mean Dumbledore?
What?
Oh, you guys didn't hear? He agreed to do Dumbledore for all the new Harry Potters.
Fine with it.
He's like, I'm basically signing my life away. When this is over, I'll be 87, but I did say yes.
Tight. He did RoboCop 2, which I did not know, and now
Irving Kershner directed RoboCop 2.
I'm pretty based on some of the descriptions of that in this. I'm now curious. For those at home that don't know, RoboCop is like one of my favorite movies, and I've never seen 2
It's
or
a whole.
3
It was a
because
home run idea.
I know that they like are not as good. But he also did
like
Never Say
RoboCop.
Never Again,
yeah, the James Bond movie.
and yeah,
But the fake one, the fake like the one that was like
not really canon, but
it's the one where like Sean Connery came back to do one,
yeah,
right? Isn't that Never Say Never Again?
yes, it's
the-
his.
the
they even
title-
say Sean Connery's return, which I
Yeah.
think is like, isn't the title Never Say Never Again because
Yeah.
he's back?
I looked up the Ebe raid on Enbay and Tenbay or whatever it is. First off, that movie stars Peter Finch and Charles Bronson, which is hilarious.
Holy shit!
It looks exactly like the kind of 1977 movie you would expect with those two.
Yeah.
And it won the Golden Globe Award for Best Miniseries or Television Series.
It's like the
So, was
Dirty
there-
Dozen or something, like
Yeah,
Band of Brothers
yeah.
from the 70s.
It's like, was there a like TV movie
Yeah.
appetite back then that was different, where it was like you could get
now basically TV shows are this. Now TV shows are like basically prestige programming, whereas before, like if you imagine like a TV show was something like Land of the Lost or some dumbass Silver Spoons ass show, but then you watch the TV movies and all of a sudden you're watching like Brian's Song or some shit like that, and you're like crying and whatever. Or if you're interested in TV movies from this time period, what I would do is I would recommend you go back and listen to whatever the name of that podcast is that Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery do these days. It is amazing. It has the same name as Quentin's old video store that he used to work at with him, with Roger Avery.
2 feet.
I can't remember. I don't know. He didn't own it. He didn't have a chance to name it after his favorite
Feet
thing.
from my mouth.
It's Roger Avery.
I love feet.
foot to mouth.
feet from my mouth.
Hand to God, foot to my mouth, foot in my mouth.
But
let me suck on the little piggies.
the show is them watching movies on VHS, because when the video store went under after Quentin got his Pulp Fiction money, or maybe just his Reservoir Dogs money, he like bought the inventory of his video store and put it in like a vacuum sealed room with the shelves and everything. So that video store and all its contents are like forever. And
they like go in like spacesuits.
I'm serious.
and, like,
I'm serious. He reads the boxes that he used to watch over back in the day, and I would say half the movies they go into in that show are about like TV movies from the 70s, and or that were like, because another thing that they used to do back then was
for lower budget movies because there was no like indie film audience at this time. This is before that happened, right? When the studios got all fucked again in the 80s and then we had to break out of it with indie films. They had these situations where they'd make these movies with like some budget for TV. Even Twin Peaks was like this. They'd do like a movie version in Europe.
That's a big part of when they were talking about like which directors have influenced him. Akira Kurosawa was a big one, and David Lean. And he's like, the little movie is like what people love. It's like small budget, like big on emotion and character. And then he's like, here, which is, it seems like this is just at every era of films in Hollywood. It's the problem where they're like, they'll only do films they think will make $100 million. And he's like, they don't take risks. They do like big things. But in Europe and Asia, the big films are small budget. You just get to go make your movie.
It's like the ones that get the respect are like the people that like make something amazing with what they have.
We took care of that.
We took care of that.
Yeah, in China, now all the biggest movies are blockbusters.
Yeah.
In Europe, all the biggest movies. Like, we Americanized all that. Don't worry, world. We Americanized that for you.
We Americanized it, but like UK, right? They like hit us back. We hit them with Endgame. And they hit us with Paddington in Peru, and theirs is better. So, like, who's leading the charge? I don't know. But whatever it is, American. I don't think anything wants to be Americanized anymore. I think the world is good. I think the world is finished being Americanized.
Yeah.
I don't know that it is, man.
I think the world would like to stop being Americanized.
I think they'd like to.
Yeah.
I agree, but
He was talking about how he got approached to direct it, and he was like, Gary Kurtz.
Yeah. No, I just
and
it's funny.
George Lucas like reached out to him. I never realized that he taught him.
He taught George at USC.
Yeah, he's like, I've always liked George and respected him. I love this. It's funny. He's like, I love his little films and his stuff at USC. I had some seminars with him when I was teaching, and he was making his little films. And then he was talking about like that he pushed Warner Bros. To release THX 113 because he thought it was like really interesting.
Didn't he also make The Big Chill?
I
Oh
don't
no,
know.
you know what? That might be Kasdan. Actually, I might be wrong about that.
He was like, cool. Why do you guys want me? Because he's like, they asked me if I want to do Star Wars, and he's like, follow up the biggest like movie of all time.
Ever?
That's kind of. He's like, why do you want me? And George was like, you know everything like a Hollywood director needs to know, but you're not Hollywood. Like you
don't care.
You don't care. And so he was like, okay. So it's cool. So he like went up to, I guess he was now in the Bay Area, and he like talked to George, and George showed him all these drawings for what would become Skywalker Ranch. And he was like, he showed me this like dream, which is going to be like leveling up film as like an art thing and like a tangible thing. And he's like, that gets me more motivated than like anything else, more than just like money. So he did it. And then him and George would meet with Kasdan and like talk about it. They like threw out the original script, and they would like rap about ideas. And then Kasdan would like go off and write, and then like come back, and they would do stuff, and they sort of like had to interface across the world. They don't like say it quite exactly, but I don't think Irvin Kershner like was married. It sounded like he just was like successful enough to live wherever he wanted. So he's like, I was in like England for a year. Oh, actually he went off to England, and for over a year he just worked on storyboards, since that was going to be like the film. And also he went to like Norway a bunch. They did a lot of pre-pro finding locations to shoot. I didn't realize the snow stuff was shot in Norway. He shared a funny story. Like the first day that they shot, it was like in March, and it was 26 degrees below zero. It was supposed to be fair weather, and it was so cold and so blanketed by snow that the only shots they got the first day, he's like, we put the camera right outside the door of the hotel. Everybody except for Mark Hamill was inside, and we just got shots of Luke stumbling through the snow, because he's like, that's literally all we could film that day.
There's just nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, all of us were just like huddled up watching poor Mark Hamill like be the only person in the fucking snow, which is hilarious. Some other fun Norway shit was like, they had to shoot on like glaciers a lot. And so he's like, the hardest part of filming any of this was 7 layers of clothing and on a glacier, and going to the bathroom was like torture. But then also apparently like they all got into sauna. He's like, we would like get back, we'd all go in the sauna, and then all run out into the snow and back into the sauna and into the snow. And you're like, I just love the idea that all of the Star Wars people are like, all right, now let's go like sauna after shooting. This film, probably unsurprising to anybody, was like the biggest film he'd ever worked on, but had ever seen. They had how many? 8 full sound stages. Well, they were supposed to have 8, but they only had 7 because apparently Kubrick burnt down The Shining. When they catch it on fire, apparently burnt that studio to the ground. So they had one fewer sound stages, and only Norway was the only outside they ever shot. He's like, once we went to England, we were never outside for another single shot of that film.
Wow.
Which kind of makes sense if you think about, it's like they're in a ship in space, or Dagobah or Bespin, but they had something like 60-something different sets. They had over 400 people working every day. They would have the set, like the paint was still wet on some days, and they have to like wait for it to dry to shoot some stuff. Dagobah, he had to shoot that in reverse because they didn't have it all done, so they only had like the ending stuff. Like, he had to shoot
building it backwards.
Yeah, he was talking about like this whole thing was like, he was like it's the most
started in
fun
Yoda's
he's ever had. And he's like, I'm not a sci-fi guy, and
That's
like
crazy.
he'd only seen Star Wars twice. He like saw it when it came out or whatever, and it was like cool. And then he watched it one more time during pre-pro because he's like, I wanted to shoot it my way. George said I could like shoot it my way. And we had like a very good working relationship where he's like, little changes that he would make because he like storyboarded this all out. He wouldn't tell Lucas about, but big changes he would have a conversation.
Like a plot change.
Or if little things where it would affect the effects, where he'd be like, oh, George, the ship, I flipped it. It's going to come in from the left now instead of the right, like that kind of stuff. And he was like, George was super respectful of that process. He only came to set during like filming a couple times, was hands off. He was like, I was surprised because one day we're just shooting and I look over and behind everybody, just like looking over, is like George. And he's like, George, come here. Like, get over here and watch me. And he's like, George was like embarrassed. Like,
He didn't want to be on set?
well, and also knowing that he's like his film like teacher, and then he like got him to like do his thing, is like kind of the idea of him being like, okay, I'll come watch from the camera.
I'll tell you how to do this.
But he's like, things I wanted to do, I wanted to move the camera more than it normally was. He's like, there was a ton of handheld. He's like, we're on the Millennium Falcon set. We have to move it. It's like 10 tons. You can't move a set, which is hilarious because now you can. He's like, all that shit was me being like, left. He's like, the actors would go left. I'd move the camera right. All that stuff is just me with a handheld camera going left and right, and it works.
Yeah, wow.
That's crazy. I had no idea.
He fell in love with like the movie, with the characters. He loved the process because he's like, I storyboarded this, but there were curveballs all the time. They're making the shit as they go, so they have to do stuff. The sets were incredible. He's like, George is the best producer because he would just make whatever you wanted. It would appear. It would be there. His favorite set is the carbonite thing. And he's like, it's this giant. They went to like a junkyard and just cleared that place out. He only shot on one side of it and just reversed it for all the shots, which is like, I wonder if you go back and watch it now, if you
probably
can, like,
notice that.
Notice
Yeah.
it, but yeah.
I doubt I would notice it unless I was told.
Yeah.
I mean, you have been. Now I'm definitely going to look.
Unless I'm like, if it's like this one, I'll notice. Yeah.
There's probably going to be like a rod that if you look at it, you're like, that one rod is the
doesn't
same
work.
rod.
They didn't know, obviously, what Yoda was going to look like. They thought it was like a bunch of different things. He was like, at one point, we even talked about like a 7-foot, like he was all these things until somebody like put together a crude drawing, crude like thing of it, and he got it. And it reminds me of like Werner Herzog, falling in love with Grogu. When they finally like got it, like he handpicked, because they were like, all right, we have his look, but what is he gonna wear? And he like went through all these fabrics and found like a untreated Indian silk that was rough and perfect, and he like held it in his hands and was like, this is it. Get me some from like India. And they got it. The way that he talks about Yoda and like the way that he came alive reminds me where he's like, he's real now. He's like what Frank Oz did.
Yoda's like an
It
actor
just
in
like,
the movie.
it makes him, he was so scared. He's like, my favorite scene is Luke landing up until like in the Yoda stuff, because he was like, I had no idea if it was going to work. Like, and it worked so beautifully, and they pulled it off. He was complaining about the Yoda dolls because he's like, I was supposed to have 3. They were supposed to have focusing eyes, and they were supposed to blink. Only one blinked. It blinked only one time ever, and the other ones didn't. But they like, I don't know, watch the fucking movie. You still made it work.
You never think about like all the different Yoda versions they must have had to have.
So many.
Mark Hamill could not hear
Yoda.
Yeah. He had to remember Yoda's lines and just act against it, which now makes me like a little bit there's a couple reads in Dagobah that I'm like,
What? Yeah.
from Luke, where you're like, I don't know if that, but it's like, oh, he
didn't
just
hear-
had to remember
he didn't hear
lines
the reference,
and just
yeah.
respond. And fucking Irvin, he was like, I wore a World War II gas mask because the shit that they did now, you don't.
You're not allowed to shoot in that.
People like it is not healthy. He started getting sick because they would like not. It's inside. They would pump it full of like or smoke, and then a bunch of chemicals that like kind of keep it all hanging. And he was like, I got so sick that they gave me like I got like a World War II gas mask and like fixed microphone in it so I could like speak to people and breathe on set. And you're like, holy shit,
That's crazy,
dude. Chewbacca passed out. He's like Peter Mayhew like would just like constantly faint, and he got like heat exhaustion. So they like sent him away to recover for a couple days, and they brought in a different guy to stunt.
To like
work
do
for
some
Chewbacca and do some stuff. This was part of the. It kind of like jumps around, which is why I'm kind of jumping around with the explanation. But like he was like, we shot him for a couple stuff, and I didn't use a single bit of his foot. He's like Peter Mayhew, like
Is
Chewbacca. Even with the limited things he was having this other guy do, he's like, no, you could. It's not. You could just tell it's not him. And same thing with like David Prowse. He was like, you kind of forget, like you think James Earl Jones, but he's like, the body is this. And he was talking about when they were screening it because only like.
Right, it's Empire
Two
Strikes
people
Back.
knew, and he was like, they were screening it, and David Prowse like smacks him in the back of his head, and he's like, "Why didn't you tell me? I would have like delivered. I would have like carried the thing so differently." But it's like
You're
you
not
still
the voice. Yeah.
Well, he's like, I would have body acted that.
Oh,
thing
the scene.
differently.
Yeah.
and it's like he's like, you were perfect.
Yeah.
Which he fucking is. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't act it any differently.
I'm sure that Irvin directed him correctly for the right outcome, regardless. And man, you know what's crazy about this? Just for the record, I was just reading about Irvin Kershner, right? He died in 2010. RoboCop 2 was the last movie that he made.
You know,
And
I'm
I
happy
want,
with that.
and knowing who he is and what happened with Star Wars, and then what the deal is with RoboCop 2, like that kind of makes sense to me.
yeah, it like checks.
I
out.
do need to see like now because of this. James Cameron was talking about like you can't out horror Alien. That's like the greatest horror. Like
Yeah.
So you do something different, and he was like, I am not trying to one up Star Wars because you can't do that. Everybody talks about it as science fiction. He was like, it's not science fiction to me. It's fairy tales.
And it's crazy too because Lucas seemed to have a good head on his shoulders about who needed to make Star Wars at this time. And like the idea that he came to, like I was always mystified by the like apocryphal story of David Lynch being involved in Return of the Jedi. Him being like, "Hey, David, do you want to direct our film?" And he's like, "George, I don't want to direct the film because it's going to be a terrible situation for me." And because, David Lynch is like the most legit artist in the world, right? So David Lynch said no, but I wonder if he would have just let him make a David Lynch movie. Because it seems like what happened here was that he let him make an Irvin Kershner movie, which is why Empire Strikes Back is in the same conversation as The Godfather. You know what I mean?
Right.
It is. It's like crazy. And
Yeah.
but he got to do it, and he loved every actor and had something nice to say about all of them. He loved Harrison Ford, and it's crazy because now you think of Harrison Ford and he hates Han Solo, but he was talking about how like one, Harrison Ford is hilarious, and how open he was to just like jive with the material, try different.
He wasn't
things.
bored yet, yeah.
They would like talk about different things where he's like, instead of you doing this action, you like stop and you let everyone come to you. Like little things where you're like, oh yeah, Han, like it sounds like a lot of these examples were like Han being a bit of a dick, but like
This is his movie, man. This is Han's movie. by far.
Han really like in this movie does come alive in all
He's
those
the star.
ways.
He's the star of this movie.
He like beats everybody in it, and he like sells it. So there was like just cool shit across the board. They were like, "What do you think of the third one?" And he's like, "It didn't work for me."
Yeah.
He's like, I thought they were going in a different direction, and it wasn't for me. It is really interesting for him to jump into this, and he was like, after RoboCop 2, I'm not doing more sequels. That he fell so in love with like this film, wasn't really like thinking about what was coming next. But an interesting little tidbit he did put in there was he was like, it was my idea to put them showing that Luke has feeling, like him getting like pin pricked in his finger, being like, ow, because he's like, it seemed to me like they were setting the third up for a big romance film. Which, if you think about it without knowing it, you're like,
Yeah.
Well, Luke and Leia were like in the first one and they kiss, and the second one Han was put up, and now Luke and Leia are back, but Han is like frozen, so it totally makes sense that there would be some sort of romance. And he's like, I didn't want to have our main character having a fake hand, so I made sure that his hand had feelings so that the third movie could, have that. Which I was like, what a beautiful like thought. I don't know. This another one of the big things. He's like,
actions aren't movies. Characters, they're the ones that do the actions. It's all about characters. It's a Star Wars film. There's gonna be cool stuff. Like, don't worry. You have to have it be so character driven. That's what everybody loves. Even if they don't know that's what they love about it, that's what they love about it. And then also you have cool shit.
It's pretty amazing how the really own, like, we're used to these three movies, these original trilogy movies that we are. It's like, to me, it's like how, and I use this example a lot. You probably heard me use it before, but have you ever heard the song Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys? You heard that song?
Yeah.
When I was a kid growing up with that song, I would think, oh yeah, the Beach Boys, Surfing USA, Surfing Safari, or whatever. I think it might be Jan and Dean, but you know what I'm saying? Like all their like little Deuce Coupe type songs or whatever.
Yeah.
Surfer Girl, and then Good Vibrations. They're all the same songs. And then if you actually go back and you look at that song compared to the other songs, it has a theremin in it. It has like na 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 na. There's like this crazy like bom, 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 bom. It's like it's like composed. There's like it's such a huge artistically sound like 10 out of 10 song that could be in fucking Fantasia compared to the other songs.
Right.
But because I was a kid and the context that I heard it in, I was thinking of the Beach Boys and the striped shirts with the matching guitars at the beach playing that song. And now, you know, years later, you go in and you learn as a rock and roll fan about how the Beach Boys were. And you find out, oh, Brian Wilson's this tortured genius. All the other ones wanted to do this, like, you know, poppy surface level music. He's trying to write like teenager symphonies to God, blowing people's minds. He like made the Beatles kneel before his genius. He inspired them to make Sgt. Pepper's when he made Pet Sounds. And you're like, oh, wow, this is a different thing than these other things. And I feel like looking back at the Star Wars trilogy, one is like an indie film with no budget. One is like one of the finest made films for art ever that like is at the nexus of like art and like pop ever. And then the third one is basically Rise of Skywalker, except people liked it.
I mean, the third one is the like we got shit to sell.
They threw out everything that was
like,
happening.
let's land it safe.
They just threw out everything that occurred and just did like a big fight. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that because like I said, like we were talking about in Return of the Jedi, the episode, it's like that's the movie that did this. That was the first movie that figured this out and it was earnest and it was good. But looking at Kirshner and looking at Marquand, who directed Return of the Jedi, you can hear, I remember Lucas, like, because I was obsessed with David Lynch's Return of the Jedi. Lucas said something about Marquand, like, oh yeah, he's really, he's good at suspense and he's good with actors, so that's why I hired him. Compared to this situation with Irvin Kershner, where he basically hired a Jedi Master who he worked under to make the movie for real. So, like, he needed control over that third movie, and he needed inspiration in this second movie, and it's really interesting to see that now.
It's really interesting also, you're right, because we saw, like, his idea for a second one in Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Yeah.
And that was his, like...
Sort of, yeah.
Story... beats.
I mean, what's his name also wrote the story.
The guy wrote it. Oh, I thought he like had the idea for it and he fleshed it out.
I think he just like threw out what kind of story it was going to be because he was like, if this doesn't work out as a movie, maybe just do like another.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that it has something. But like, this is how you would want every film to be made. He spent like years falling in love with genre and a thing he doesn't care about.
Yeah.
And making all of the characters real to himself and to other people. And he's like, I've never been more excited every day. He was like, I was so excited to get to set to make this movie. We have to figure shit out because like stuff would break or like half the actors would pass out because
you're gassing them with poison.
Yeah, like you can't do this shit anymore. You played make believe so hard that you did believe it. And it like absolutely
this is really
shows.
Yeah, this is really capturing my imagination. I just want to say one more thing if we're gonna wrap this up, just because we're talking about RoboCop and stuff. If you want to unlock RoboCop 2 for yourself, and it's pretty interesting to think about. No, I'm serious. Like I don't think the movie is as good as RoboCop 1 by
It's not. It's just not
by any stretch.
But it's fun as hell.
Yeah, but what RoboCop 2 is a sort of self-aware movie about making a sequel to RoboCop.
Yes.
And is also about what ruins a sequel. Looking at it through that lens, you can kind of like see how Empire Strikes Back is like part of the RoboCop 2 story in a way. Because if you think about it, Empire Strikes Back could have ended up as, what's his name from RoboCop 2? The new thing that replaces RoboCop.
The Walker guy?
Yeah,
I can't remember
the
the damn thing's
claymation
name.
thing that he fights.
Kane or like
Yeah,
isn't it
it's
something
like
that?
the something 2. It's literally called like it originally was called RoboCop 2.0 or something like that.
Oh.
That was what the idea of the movie was like that corporate like influence will always make a sequel like worse, more capitalistic, and more fascistic than the original.
Oh, it was like in the text.
It's okay. What the movie is
That's
is
the
it's
point
a,
of the
it's a
movie,
sequel
yeah.
to a Verhoeven movie directed by the director of Empire Strikes Back and written by Frank Miller after a rewrite by the guy from who wrote The Wild Bunch. So if that's a movie that you want to go see with an open mind and try and pull that theme out of it, you can.
Now I do.
I'm just saying because people are listening to this. If you want to go do it, like you can. But get
Yeah,
ready,
it's
like,
not
you know
going to be a
what I-
movie where
what I-
like that was so good.
What I said about Sevens really
Right.
matters in this case.
Speaking of like sequels that I revisited recently, Ghostbusters 2.
Another one.
I loved as a kid, and as a kid, it was to me just
The
as
same.
good
Yeah, the
as
same.
RoboCop or not RoboCop, Ghostbusters 1. And it wasn't until like high school and meeting Schroeder, who has been my writing partner for now most of my life, who was like, that movie sucks. I like was afraid to go back and watch it until a couple weeks ago, busted it out and watched it. And Ghostbusters 1 is a like truly a like perfect
It's a flash in the pan.
comedy.
There's no way
as
that-
much as
yeah.
it is anything else.
Nobody could have set out to make Ghostbusters and made it as good as it
It
ended
is
up.
both
Yeah.
comedy and scary and a
Amazing.
good story.
Amazing
in one.
movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But
The Frighteners is the only movie similar to it at all.
Ghostbusters 2 has Avengers 2 thing where it's like there are some of the best Ghostbusters moments. Like they didn't just shit it out. They chose a very fascinating premise for 2 where it's like, they got shut down. Everyone treated the end of the first one like it was a hoax. So you have like the first third of the movie where they're not Ghostbusters.
trial, yeah.
But every one of their bits, Peter Venkman's new TV show is as funny
Hilarious.
as any scene where it's like, I predict the end of the
Yeah.
film will be, or the end of the world. They were like February 14th, 2025, which was this year.
Yeah.
And he was like, Valentine's Day, bummer. It's as good as anything else. And then when they come back together, it's good. And you're like, okay, I'm now at an age where I can somehow like I can separate it. And so I'm hoping I can do that. And I loved watching Ghostbusters 2. And now I'm like, I'm just going to put it back in my rotation
It's
of
mostly because you love Lottofiko.
dude, he is
Janusz,
the best part of that movie.
Janusz is
he is
hands
the
down.
he is the
everything
movie.
you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why are you came?
it's a great movie.
Why are you came?
The bit
As good as the first one, but it's fun.
The bit that I fucking love is when Venkman's like taking pictures of Vigo's portrait and he's doing like the "Give it to me, Austin Powers baby" thing, and the ending line where he's like, "I've had better." But not many. I just like, it was like the fun. I didn't remember that line and it like killed me. And then them taking over the Statue of Liberty still holds up.
It's like special effects, like insane. Like the whole situation is like, whoa, like that's like as good. Like I was looking at another movie. Speaking of Rick Moranis movies, the one with the baby. What is it? The second one?
Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Holy fuck! How the fuck did they do that? How do they-
The first ones, the effects in that are amazing.
The first one is like amazing, but you can kind of just like build big stuff and
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. But this one is like, there's like this scene that's like they're running in a circle through like the house with a baby chasing them, and he's like 2 feet taller than any of them. And it's like they must have done it exactly like fucking
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, like exactly. Like it's
Yeah.
insane. Anyway, they made stuff really well back in the day, even dumb like comedy movies about a giant baby in Vegas. So
To me, RoboCop is like the Matrix. It's like not really meant to be a series of historical events. It's a metaphorical movie about like
RoboCop 2 fulfills this. RoboCop 3 does not fulfill this.
okay,
Yeah.
But like one is like a scathing satire of like the 80s and is a great thing about regaining your own humanity. Like it
Like,
works.
what is a human? Yeah.
And once he's like regained his humanity, I don't really know that you need to do more. So it's interesting on that level. But he talks about that he was happy with it. He's like, I think there's just as much there for kids as there are adults, and that's like a sentence you don't really want to hear about RoboCop because it is like that movie is not for kids. RoboCop 1
he's being realistic about what.
Oh,
kids
but
want.
I think a similar thing happened to RoboCop that happened to Ghostbusters, where they had a like kids cartoon show that was popular.
The real Ghostbusters,
So for
dude.
the sequel, and maybe they talk about it in 2 more.
It's literally like about
is
sequels.
Like,
big
you have
time.
to, and then 3 was like PG-13. Like it then became not an adult thing, and it's
Yeah.
like people love the first one because it was
It's
like
hard. It's hard edged.
edgy, and was like real. The opening montage is genius.
The scene where that dude like goes through that truck
and comes out melted in acid is like one of the coolest things that I've ever seen in any movie. Like as like a grisly death in a movie. There's nothing like that in RoboCop 2. They got Jason the Argonauts in there. It's not. It looks old.
Yeah.
Even though Phil Tippett made it, which is crazy.
Now I want to watch it because of that. The other big thing is he loves George Lucas. And when they were like, would you like to direct more? And he's like, absolutely. I would absolutely come back for one of the prequels. He's like, I'm done with sequels. I don't want to do sequels anymore. And like, oh, you want to come back to Star Wars even though they're all new characters? And he's like, yes.
That's exactly
specifically
why. Yeah, that's
that they're
exactly
all new
why I wanna come
characters.
back, yeah.
But he was like, the stuff he's got planned for the first three, he's like, they're going to be so great. He's like, I have no doubt they're going to be exactly what people want, all this stuff. And it's just like a little bit weird because
they're definitely the most coherent movies of the three. Like they're the most coherent trilogy.
I think that why he wouldn't be so happy with them is that he's like, the characters. It has to be about the characters. And I don't think that the characters are anywhere near nailed in the prequel.
Oh, I agree with you 100%, but I also feel like, and this is something that I'm starting to like build. And I know this is a long episode already, but I'm just like so into this right now. There is a feeling that I have that something happened to George Lucas in the mid-90s, and I'm not sure what it was. You know, I don't know what. Maybe Disney tried to buy him or something like that, or Fox, something. But something happened because we're in 1990. We're reading all these stories about who's he going to get. Who's he going to get? Ron Howard, who's he going to get? They're going to make these amazing movies just like the other movies he made. He was thinking in his mind, I'm going to do this just how I did last time. I'm going to get like the finest artists and make these amazing Star Wars movies, right? But what we got instead was basically like the first like YouTube channel with good special effects. We basically
made it himself.
George Lucas like basically pulled a Freddie Wong and made 3 Star Wars movies.
Mm-hmm.
And like to understand that shift, you have to really think how much stuff does that change in how the movie's made? How different of a plan is it to do something like that than to do what we're reading press releases about in 1990? And I feel like somewhere in the 90s, somewhere in the process of making these movies, he realized, A, I don't have enough money to make these movies, or B, the film industry has failed me, or something like that. Because I feel a shift in how Lucas was. He was so generous with the IP. Like, indie was not his thing. Like, all the movies that he directed were not. Other than the indie film that he made, I don't think this guy even really wanted to be a director.
He like said as much.
Yeah.
And that's why that like interview with him, I was like sad that things work differently because he clearly wants to be the producer. Everybody that works with him at this time was like, he's the best because Irvin's like, if I wanted something, I had it.
Yeah.
No director has ever had more to work with.
Right.
He would get it. Like, that's his thing.
So yeah, that's why I feel like I don't know what happened. I don't know.
Didn't we read an interview or somewhere that they were like, he couldn't get people to come do it, so he had to do it himself.
For the prequels?
For the prequels.
Yes, but that's why I'm saying, like, I think there's something there. Like, I don't know that, but, like, there's insights that I'm getting into how Star Wars developed by doing this very show. It's like almost like they made a initiative to get ready for Star Wars to come back, and then something happened where more money got in, like more people wanted to be involved, and so he was like, okay, I need to protect this. I need to like come in and be the guy, period, because if I don't, you're going to have a situation like the Avengers, where same idea, bring in an indie director, like they brought in, what's her name, to do the Eternals, for example, or Black Widow, I think, has also like a very interesting director, and Thunderbolts has like a very interesting director. A lot of movies are like these arts directors, and like I know somebody.
They did that with Lord and Miller. Like,
but the reason
Disney
they do it,
was like doing that, but then they were like, actually no.
The reason they do it though is not because they really want these directors' mark on these films. What they really want is to use the director's name to legitimize the film and then swing their big dick around at their fucking face.
The indie director
their
can't.
sweaty pee-pee on their face.
Yeah.
So that the indie director's under. Because, you know, the Disney movies are like animatics 3 years before the movie comes out, shot for shot.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to literally go back and make the movie afterwards. I feel like there's some move, because George Lucas has been on this track his whole life. He's the same guy as Clint Eastwood. He's the same guy as Charlie Chaplin, where they just like left Hollywood and like did their own fortress somewhere else where they made a bunch of money. And I think there's some element of that occurred. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, we're going to get there. Everyone talks about how he was just surrounded by yes people for the prequel. And I do think like when you are starting out and you are surrounded by the most talented people that you don't know are the most talented people in like the history of Hollywood, like groundbreaking people and everyone's doing their thing, you can't help but make something pretty crazy. And then by the time he's making the next one, people that are working there are like, I grew up watching. I love
Star
them.
Wars, yeah.
And it's like kind of like how they got with Marvel had it. They like around phase 3, they created a Marvel writing program where they just stopped having other creatives and they started training their own people to be able to write their stuff. And you're like, now the serpent has swallowed its tail and we're not getting anything new. And so maybe that's a thing. Also, listen to how they talk about making this film, where most of it, except for sub-freezing Norway, was manufactured from junk parts.
Right.
And he fell in love with a doll. They made it real. This movie is the antithesis of the prequels,
Don't
where it's
sniff
like
your own shit and get obsessed with how much money you have. Like, don't make your movie and be like, we're going to buy a new facility. We're going to make the best cameras. We're using AI in this film. We're going to get in, we're getting Aquafina and we're going to bring in,
I think that's 100% Cameron. I think James Cameron, coming off of all the hype he did, talking about like the new cameras, the new studio, we had to buy all this stuff to film Titanic, and everyone was like, "That's how you make movies now."
Him and Lucas and Spielberg and like a couple other guys are those guys that made that. And Peter Jackson's another.
And you have to, and it's one of those like, and now we have to keep up.
Yeah, and it's like the same thing with what are they called?
Nolan's doing a lot of that now.
What's the name of the game developer that makes Baldur's Gate? Larian. They're like, hey guys, we spent our lives for a decade making this video game, and it's going to be real deep. It's going to be real complex. There's going to be a lot going on. You can play this game a million times. Don't expect another game like this from us ever, please. And then the other like game devs are coming out like, hey guys, Baldur's Gate 3 cannot be the template for how we make all video games now. If we do that, we will never recover. We will never be able to make another video game again. This can't be what a passing grade looks like.
That's what the fans want.
But that's what I'm saying.
Tough, yeah.
They are building a shithole for themselves. You know, it's like an idea that only works in your imagination that's not actually practical. So it's it's interesting. I think something happened. That's all.
Yeah. I'm just going to read this quote about RoboCop 2 just because it's interesting. They said, Irvin, what excites you most while working on your latest film, RoboCop 2? And he said, I had tremendous freedom. They had a script when I started, but it wasn't satisfactory. I did the whole film in 1 year. That meant rewriting the script, finding a city to shoot it in, casting it, doing the storyboards, shooting the special effects, and the actual filming. I did all of this in less than a year and under budget and under schedule. I think I did one of the most remarkable jobs that I've ever done, and I'm happy with the film. It has 2 levels, 1 level for adults and 1 level for kids.
And it's still in the conversation as the best movie.
From a producer standpoint, it's like you came in under budget, under schedule.
If you just work with the fucking
it's like an
team.
interesting way to look at a film, and it's like maybe you should have spent more time and more money. But I haven't seen it, so I can't. But it's like interesting to be like, I did it all. When he was talking about this one, he's like, shit, this is going to be like Empire's going to be like 3 years of my life, which is now not. It's not like that weird of an amount of time for like a person to be in it. But for him, he's like,
there weren't that.
I was in and out in a year.
Yeah, there's not that type of movie anymore.
But actually, I guess if he's coming from the world where you're like, you just make a small movie about like characters, and you're like, you don't need 3 years to shoot whatever that Radon and Tibet like.
Right. But, he took those years and focused on the right things, and it's really just a miracle that we got that.
Pierce Brosnan only needed one. Pierce Brosnan, that's the wrong guy.
Pierce Brosnan,
Pierce
the original
Brosnan.
James Bond.
Yep, that's
And
it.
yeah,
Did you know Steven Seagal was the stunt director on Never Say Never Again? And that he broke Sean Connery's wrist?
Amazing.
And that Sean Connery's like, I didn't even know he broke my wrist for 10 years. I had to go back and figure it out. He's like, oh, remember that time Steven Seagal fucked up my wrist?
Steven Seagal's now like, fight me, Sean.
Why don't you come over here?
Come
I'll
fight
get you,
me.
bro.
I'll meet you on the streets of
Remember,
Russia.
here's my rider. Don't do any of these moves on me. Don't exercise before. If I touch you, pretend like you got hurt. Let's go. Nice fair fight. What do you got, Jesse?
Well, we're going inside the world of ILM. So, in Star Wars, we find out there were less than 50 models used to make that movie. But by the time Empire rolled around, because we're talking about Empire...
50 models in the first Star Wars period for the Death Star and everything?
Everything. 50 total models.
Holy fuck.
But when they came around for Empire, they're like, boy, oh boy, we're going to need a lot more than that. And according to Lauren Peterson, who's one of the heads of modeling at ILM, who's basically the focus of this entire piece, they thought they could go in and reuse models from the first movie. Not the case. George was like, nope. He says, just think of the flotilla armada at the end of the rebellion scene in Empire. All those ships, we had to make all of them from scratch, and George said, give me detail, so we can get close-ups on all of them. He says that in Empire, they They started with 7 to 9 model builders, and at the time of the article, they now have 28 working at ILM.
It's so funny how like inconsequential in the grand scheme of that movie, like that those ships are. Like you could not have those shots and the movie would still work.
Yeah.
But they had the Death Star and the Star Destroyer, but that's the beginning of like a lot of ships, and it really adds scale. And you're like, all that for like 2 seconds is a lot of.
It feels good in the third movie when you see the Rebel Armada as a bunch of different ragtag ships, and you don't think about all the work that goes into. They clearly had to design all of these, which is fascinating. Speaking of Star Destroyers, when they heard the pitch for the Super Star Destroyer, they literally just wanted to go in and repaint a Star Destroyer. Like, oh, we'll just paint it dark and make it look bigger. And George is like, no. We want something big and spectacular. So they designed the ship that we see in the movie, the Super Star Destroyer, but they didn't know.
Star Destroyer.
Yeah, they didn't know.
The big dick boy, baby buster, Star Destroyer.
They didn't know how to build it because it was too big. The designs they had were too big, and there was no material that could build it and
like
support its
the
weight.
squared cubed rule where you're like, this will fall apart.
That was the biggest problem, is they could not do it. So the way they did is they had to create a technique where they honeycombed the inside of the ship, and that's what's holding it all together. And this funny thing is that actually worked for them, because when George was like, hey, can you guys light that ship up? They just put in blue lights all through the honeycomb. So that's why when you watch it, even in the old version,
It looks
the ship looks like it has lights coming out of it, because it really does.
It really is like, I mean, I don't remember feeling that way watching the like Disney Plus like version of the movie or the Blu-ray version of the movie.
Well, that's because they straight up take all that out and then
Like
make
digitally,
it look, digitally alter it.
Because goddamn, watching all three movies on the like unmade versions, the really amazing thing is that it really brings them apart aesthetically. Like, man, Irvin Kershner's movie is a lot different looking than the first movie. Is a lot different moving than looking than the third movie. And I feel like the parody came like 7 years after this article, which is weird.
Yeah, but
they must have been working on that for a while, which is weird.
It's very noticeable that if you go back and watch the Super Star Destroyer in the unedited version, it's like blue. It's got blue tint.
It's amazing.
And that's because they have a bunch of blue lights in
The
it.
lights coming out of the fucking engines are like blue and orange somehow.
Yeah.
Like, it looks.
That's all-
It's like
fucking-
ghostly.
Yeah, it looks fucking scary and awesome and like how LV-426 looks in Alien, like a real place. Awesome.
Lauren went on to say that he loved making all the models, and the one he loved the most, of course, was Boba Fett's ship.
Oh, man.
He just loved the aesthetic design of it. He thought it was really fun to work on. And then he also went on to
The
explain...
Liberator.
Is that really what it's called?
No, didn't they like rename it because
it's just called Boba Fett's Stingray or whatever they call it now.
It's called Django 1.
Oof.
It's called Django Unchained. That's a pretty clever joke, you guys.
He talks
some
about
love on that.
going in and being a model maker for movies like this, and how, if you're interested in that and you want to talk about it with him and anyone
late.
else, he's like, hey,
He's
man.
dead.
Well, yeah, now for sure.
Yeah.
And he's like, all those things we did, from honeycombing to putting the lights in to creating all, that's the process of model
Standard.
making. That's
The
like what you
standard.
do.
Yeah. That's like, what's that dude, Adam Savage? That's like his life now.
Yeah. Yeah.
He created that industry right here. Yeah.
And then we got to look at the super sweet collection of Steven Sansweet.
The original Pablo Hidalgo, if you will.
Honest and true. On a hill in L.A., Wall Street Journal bureau chief Steven Sansweet, which blew me away. I was not expecting that to be his title.
Well, it's funny because like in like 5 years, he's like the main Star Wars. He's literally becomes Pablo Hidalgo after this.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He is the author. Lisa Cowan goes into his home and she's like, it is a totally normal LA looking home. And then I go into the basement and there is Star Wars merch everywhere. Not just toys, but original, like Ralph McQuarrie art, the Star Wars arcade game that was out at the time, neon signs, everything. This guy had everything. And so as he takes her through, there's shelves and crates of Star Wars. He's got a private collection of things that no one can find out anywhere else in the world. The man has display stands of soap and facial tissue.
He said he just bought. It's like
Everything.
he's like, does it say Star Wars? Give it to me.
He has over 10,000
all that
items.
random shit they were talking about in previous issues about like curtain, like
Yeah,
shower
he's
curtains.
got
He
stuff.
has that,
He's like,
for sure.
Steve was the
showering
guy
every day.
keeping that shit popping.
growing up in the 1950s, he says he was obsessed with space. And by the 70s, he was writing for the Wall Street Journal about toy collecting. And it just so happened to be that that's when Star Wars came out. So his love of collecting plus love of space and his job equals he started collecting Star Wars. He talks about how at the time, Star Wars, the first movie, there wasn't really a lot to collect. And that wasn't really a thing that happened until 1978 when things really took off. And he's like, there was a lot of toys at first. And it was a lot of stuff for kids. He says by Empire, that's when things really took off and there was actually things to collect. And to him, the whole thing was just this wonderful way of spending time with something he loved. And after he saw Empire, he was like, this is it. I'm going down the path of collecting. I'm going to get everything. The interesting bit about this is this collection took actual time. There was no eBay. There was no, you can go online and find stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, he probably was all up in these
Yes.
classifieds being like, I want
Hey,
that.
man, what's up? Do you have this for real? You josh me around.
Sansweet had to maintain and form relationships with people all over the world, travel to them, write down letters. He said he once scoured Hong Kong for Star Wars merch. Like, I don't even know what that would be like, just going into shops and looking.
And the language barriers at this time are like,
Yeah.
I would say 3 times worse than they are in today in terms of like English being something that can get you around in parts of the world.
And then also the reason
Probably
why
fine
his
in Hong Kong,
collection's
to be
so
honest.
big is he does the same thing that is kind of a meme now, but he gets triples.
Yeah.
The man, he has one to show off,
gotta
one
have
to keep in storage. You gotta have triples.
Gotta have triples.
And he's got one to show off, one in storage, and one in case either of those gets
Explodes,
damaged.
yeah.
And so
He has 700 trilogy posters.
yes.
More than that now.
So he breaks everything down into 8 categories, and he's trying to fill them out. And he gives it as an example. He has those 700 trilogy posters from around the world, 100 store displays, 623 magazines, 50 Japanese magazines, 158 fanzines, 200
Whoa,
lobby
that's cool.
cards, 25 press kits, including the holiday special one, and much more. And that's just in the one category he has set up for that kind of merch. So this guy has so many things. And yeah, eventually in the future, he goes on to basically go from being a hyper fan to taking that to the next level. And honestly, I'm here for that when that happens to people. I think that's great.
Amazing. And does he work for them now at this point?
Oh, I don't think so. I think he's just a fan at this point because he works for the Washington Journal or the Wall Street Journal.
That's
Wall
going to be
Street-
such a fun thing because he becomes like the guy who writes all the stuff. He's like the guy.
Well, and then there was that guy we read about a couple of these ago where it was like he became the Skywalker Ranch's version of this, where it's like all the props, all the other things, and then liaises with local events and does like fairs and rollouts and a bunch of other cool stuff. So
Okay.
I do think what we were talking about, where like a lot of people that work for him were fans of it, is like we are now just seeing like a lot of
Yeah.
Literally, okay, he stayed as the LA bureau chief of Wall Street Journal from 87 to 96. Then he said he followed his bliss and made a leap of faith to become the director of specialty marketing at Lucasfilm. And then he became the director of content management and head of fan relations. And he did that from 1996 until he retired from all work in fucking 2011.
Damn.
And he wrote 16 books about Star Wars.
like just about it, or
He wrote real books. He wrote Star
What is his
Wars.
name?
Steven Sansweet. He wrote Star Wars from concept to screen to collectible. He wrote the Tom Arts Price Guide. He wrote Quotable Star Wars. He wrote the Star Wars Encyclopedia, the 1998 one that's like, you had this one. You know, the one with the stars on the cover and the Luke and Vader in the corner?
Yeah.
That's his book. The scrapbook, the Masterpiece Edition, Anakin Skywalker Stories of Darth Vader, the Action Figure Archive, the poster book, the Vault, the complete Star Wars Encyclopedia from 2008. He is a legend, and it's so interesting to me that he comes into the story as a fucking puff piece about a collector.
Yeah.
That
I
is
feel like
awesome.
this probably
This is it.
was the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
born in 1945, he said he knew he wanted to be a writer from age 6 when he started hand printing his own newsletter.
Yeah. He was made to be the Star
This
Wars fan
dude-
club president.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Steven
He
Sansweet.
basically lived on the ranch.
Literally the OG, like there's all these articles in the Insider later of him like, hey, here's what I do at the ranch in the Star Wars like collection. Come see in the archive. And literally, Pablo Hidalgo, I think, took over for him. I'm not 100 on that, but like, I'm pretty sure.
This is cool.
Apparently, his website is Rancho Obi-Wan, and it's the Museum of Star Wars Memorabilia in Petaluma, California, houses the largest Star Wars collection certified in 2014 by the Guinness Book of World Records, and it's got all his stuff.
Yeah, Hidalgo started as a research assistant for fucking Sansweet on the encyclopedia doing fact checking.
Crazy.
And then
Crazy.
he wrote the prequel version of the Star Wars. Like he just took over for him basically. He did all like the visual dictionaries. You know, remember the one with like that weird where we found out about Dengar?
Yeah.
What happens to Dengar and all that shit?
Yeah.
Like, god damn. Like what in the hell? Ultimate dream job for these two guys.
That's crazy. Wow. Yeah. Who knew?
They wrote books together.
It genuinely is the dream job. He knew what he liked. He got a chance and he took
Followed
it.
his bliss.
I should have worked harder.
I want to follow my bliss.
I should have worked harder. I feel like we did a pretty good job, to be honest. Like the three of us, we're in a pretty good.
Somewhere there's a...
This is not ironic. Like, my favorite thing that I do right now is the Star Wars podcast. I actually am following my bliss, and it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, there's
so,
just some hentai factory in Japan that's missing its...
The mascot.
yeah, like you're just somewhere I
You're
could
like
be.
the mascot of like a prefecture in Japan.
Just me.
Mr. Cox, like
Hello.
but you're like a mascot baby costume.
Yeah,
like,
there's something missing from my life. Yeah, that's it,
dude,
I think.
by the way, you know how you're talking about, like, it's starting to change in this issue? This has, by far, they must actually be moving things through this because now merch gets like 7 pages.
Where the fuck else
Yeah.
would you buy this shit?
No, but like, do you remember how it like started out small?
Yeah.
Now it's just like its own Sky Mall.
what I'm saying,
There's
like-
this is like when I was a kid, I remember kind of like always having access to some catalog. That's supposed to be Chewbacca, but that is definitely what's his face. That's horrifying. Yeah, Lumpy. This is the beginning of it where it's like I feel like you could order these from here for the next 20 years, and now you get them in like 6 different ways. But
Yeah.
all this, God, I want this fucking first 10 years.
Star Wars,
sweatshirt.
the company. I think Lucasfilm, the company, got like outside interests involved, and I think that's maybe part of what happened. Also, like any company that has like investors or whatever is going to end up like this. You'd think that Star Wars wouldn't need that because he did the genius play of keeping the rights to Lucasfilm. But like, I don't know. I feel like just the bigger you get, the less legit you can be. I feel like that's like a lesson of Star Wars in a big way. More
It's a
than
lesson of life.
Look at this hoodie.
They're t-shirts. No, it's like a white.
It's like
sweater.
that, but it's like that logo, but it's on the shirt. Yeah.
I'm just a big fan of like the white sweatshirt with like a simple something on there.
I get it.
But like how screen printing evolved, because like these T-shirts, by the way, are looking
That's what it is.
Oh yeah. Kind of weird colors, but I like
not
it.
the colors that I thought they would be based on. The
Shirts
black
look
and
a little
whites.
That's like a little
arty.
blue.
But I'm like, does this not seem like more modern?
It looks
and
modern
hip than
it looks
what you
modern
think
in
of
the
as-
sense that like what is popular right now is like big 90s revival. But it's like a non-postmodern version. Like I could see that shirt distressed coming out and being like on Timothy Chalamet at the fucking Oscars. Like, you know what I mean?
That's a good. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I want to be one of the greats. You know?
Yeah,
God bless him. Anything else?
that's it for me.
Guys, let's get the hell out of this giant episode. But you know what? It was worth the wait, right? Like, thank you guys so much for listening to the Star Wars Old Canon Book Club. There's a lot of it now. We are almost at the point where we've made more of this time-wise than we've made of the previous version of the show.
Really?
We're getting there because of these. But like,
there's more like recorded.
yeah, there's more audio, but like we're getting to that. Like, obviously, there's still a lot more of that. We did that show for many, many years.
Look, there's a whole new season of Andor coming. I'm very excited. I'm so happy.
Doesn't it feel like we almost like the Star Wars like canon is like gonna die again soon? Doesn't it feel like we're gonna like,
all the people in charge of the previous one are gone now.
Yeah.
Are leaving. So
I like saw a rumor or something like Kathleen Kennedy.
so
she's left, yeah.
She didn't leave, but
she's not the head of the Lucasfilm anymore.
Kathleen Kennedy's 71 years old. Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, that wasn't like they fired her.
Yeah,
She just was like, I'm
unless-
stepping down.
Well, what happened was like an article came out like the other day saying, "Oh, she's about to retire," and then she put out a statement like, "No, I did not say that. I'm not planning on retiring, and if I am, I'll let you know." So like, is she retiring?
No, I don't
like-
think she's retiring. I just don't think she's going to be the head of Lucasfilm. She's probably going to do what all smart people should do if you have that kind of money and just keep making money and not be the figurehead
I would
of
chill-
a corporation like that.
That's a job that's absolutely thankless. By the way.
What? There's no way.
I was trying to talk about this on my other podcast, and if you're looking at Kathleen Kennedy right now, maybe retiring, and you're thinking, "Oh, she like failed, and that's why she's doing this." No, the reason that she's doing this is because of the literal toxicity.
With that said, I don't think she succeeded. I'm not going to be
Did she
seem like
succeed?
she did some good
Did
work.
she succeed in the Star Wars sequel trilogy?
She succeeded in making them a shit ton of money.
Yeah. Did she succeed? I
Did
don't
she
think.
succeed in making good
I don't
movies?
think. I don't think she created like the greatest films. However, as a whole, compared to other franchises, movies that were coming out, I still think Star Wars is up there in quality. Even Rise of Skywalker, which is an extremely disappointing movie, is very well made in a lot of respects. And like weirdly, it is. It is. Like
Rise? Really?
You can't deny like artistically it's amazing. Musically it's amazing.
The
Like,
fidelity
the filmmaking is
of
amazing.
the
Yeah.
effects.
Yeah, like a lot of people on the movie did a 10 out of 10 job. Just some key people did not.
It's just like the most important
some
parts.
key people.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, okay, yes, if you want to look at the positives, and there's a lot of things in that movie that could have been good.
Compared to
However,
like,
the movie sucks.
Compared to like how special effects are handled, say in the Marvel films, Star Wars wipes the floor with Marvel movies on special effects. Star Wars wipes the floor with Marvel movies on soundtracks. Star Wars wipes the floor with Marvel movies on art direction.
You know, I will give you like those movies, they do that.
Yeah.
Empire is a great example of like they delivered him everything he wanted and he cared about the story and was good in it, like all made sense. So
But
like,
he also cared about the person that came next to him. That whole bit about the hand is absolutely the sign of a great director who's like, I know what I'm doing, but also I'm not going to
Take this.
purposefully make it so that in the next movie you have to have a guy who's got like a hand that can't move.
Right.
He's fine. In the next movie, if you don't even want to address it, you don't have to because
he just will be completely complete.
It's a very that's very kind of him as a director.
Yeah, it's just crazy thinking about that. Like, even though Empire Strikes Back is one of the like least contested, like The Godfather, Godfather 2, same kind of thing. Like, it's like one of those movies. If you look at like the three movies and you forget that they're some of the most influential movies ever made, like the shape of the first trilogy and the shape of the most recent trilogy is like quite similar in a lot of ways.
Almost purposefully so, I think, and that's honestly one of the reasons I don't
Purposely so in a way, but also what happened was there's this like, can we do it? Yes. Then the second movie is like, let's get like an artistically driven movie made and see if we can like go that way. Yes. And then the third movie, it's like, well, we have the like public reaction to the like overly artistically strong movie. Let's like dial it back and do like a big winner where we just bring everybody together in a big thing. It's just that in 2025, all nuance is lost. And it's like, you know, in general, the quality of films I think is down, period, compared to where it was in that time period for Star Wars. And I just feel like, to Kathleen Kennedy's credit, she didn't do something completely out of the question.
Oh, I'm not. I don't think the focus for Kathleen should be on that trilogy. I'm talking the entire property of Star Wars. It was completely squandered.
Agreed.
Like they put out so much stuff to make money, and they did make money,
It's
but
just
they squandered the property.
Cynical. They did like it's like the new Coke, and they just kept it.
Yeah,
Basically.
Yeah, not a fan.
Which is like super weird, but yeah, like I say,
and they were like, if you don't like New Coke,
get the
you're
fuck
the
out.
problem.
Yeah, fuck you. But also, like, if we are going to talk about Kathleen Kennedy just for a second, like, remember, she
also did a shit ton of amazing
She was
stuff.
there
Yeah,
for
yeah.
all the other stuff, too. And
That's what, like, she is a great producer. She's like a legendary producer.
yeah, and she's, like, self-made. She came up through, like, she was, like, an assistant.
No one's
Yeah.
doubting that. I just, like,
For Star
I'm
Wars,
never
wrong
gonna be
fit.
pro, not a creative, heading up a franchise.
Of course not. Of course not. I just want to point out how much now the haters just have turned the conversation into about, you see, you should have listened to us. And I want to completely belabor that out of the conversation because I think it's an absolutely stupid way and hateful way of looking at Star Wars in general.
Sure.
Also, like, Lucas, original sinner.
Another
if there is
weird guy.
one. I mean, I know some people love the prequels, but, like, to me, like,
He thought he was doing a good job for almost the whole time, I think. I think he was being true to himself and what he wanted to do until he sold the movie.
It's just, I can't wait till we get to those prequels.
Yeah.
Because there's things in them where I'm just like, this man set up a whole mystery plot line and just never delivered an ending.
Pay it off, yeah.
Never, not once.
Yeah.
It took until many seasons of a cartoon later to get an ending.
But
I'm
weirdly,
like, that's crazy. They
But
did
weirdly,
that.
like I say, way more cohesion between the three prequel movies than there
because
are.
he knew where he had to go. Like,
Yeah.
it's easy to do that. To
Like,
be honest, it's pretty
funny.
easy.
It's funny that the lesson is like, just like the other two trilogies, you should have a plan going in, and it's like, you didn't have a plan for real going into the fucking, like, they had a story beat it out from Force Awakens to the end of the trilogy. Of course they did. They just didn't use it. They just didn't use it, which is the problem.
And they didn't have a plan.
They didn't
for
prioritize it. They didn't value
original
it.
trilogy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, we had a script, we threw it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not because they didn't have a plan with the movies that they're bad. It's that they made them poorly because capitalism sucks and the movie system as a whole, it was almost a guarantee that you were not going to get a good Star Wars movie out of that. If you thought that what was going to happen with the sequels was finally some real Star Wars movies after those prequels, you're a dumbass, and people love the prequels now. So, whatever. You can't control anything.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. Hey, ITI 12 comes out next. Get ready for that. Thank you guys for listening so much. Lando's been great. We got one more Lando left, and we got a Q&A. Get ready for those. Love you. Thanks for the money.
Bye.
All right, SWAT Box, you're clear for landing. Inside the Insider is edited by Alex Del Campo and Alex Faciane. The theme song is Jupiter, Bringer of Jollity by Gustav Holst. Thanks for listening.
Attention please. Star Tours Flight 1119, non-stop service to Endor, is now ready for boarding at gate number 1.
SWAT Box episode 26, Inside the Insider, has been activated. Commence pre-launch sequence. Issue 12, you are clear for takeoff. Original publication date of summer 1990. This is Control. Thanks for listening.
Oh, he's dialed in. Now he's transmographerizing.
Welcome to Inside the Insider number 12.
Is that the Rise of Skywalker Emperor waking up every morning?
No, you know what it is? That was my Maniac Mansion themed intro because after we joked about it for like 10 seconds last time,
It became
I
the
had
issue.
no idea that this was going to be the next Willow. But this is it. We are here. We're with an entire magazine about Maniac Mansion, the Canadian television show that I don't even think aired in America more than one time.
This was a bizarre issue because not only did it have that, but it also had an entire article about
Red Tails.
Red Tails.
I'm so excited to hear this because I'm like, wait, didn't he make this movie eventually?
It's crazy.
But it wasn't my article.
It was the conversation, and then, the article exists, and then I was like, they never released that, and then they did. Eventually, they made a movie.
They fucking did in like
In, like, the-
2010.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Maybe like a little after that, but like around then. But yeah, this is summer of 1990 now. So we've moved past even the Indiana Jones times. We're in the 10th anniversary year still of Empire. That's the whole festivities this year. And before I get into the letters themselves, I want to point out there's a comic on the letters page that's two guys on a deserted island, and he's tallying on all the rocks, and he's like, hey, if my calculations are correct, it's the 10th anniversary of Empire. It's a good bit. Why would somebody be tracking that on a desert island?
Because he cares that much, dude.
Very funny.
He
Very funny
cares.
for the Star Wars fan magazine. But now I got...
I did wonder if that if that makes sense. Like, what's the bit?
the bit is just that
He's a Star Wars
it would
fan.
be
on an
ridiculous
island.
for him
That's
to...
it.
Okay. It's just
Yeah.
It's not a great.
I didn't know if
bit.
there was like a link.
It's funny that we care about it in general because when you think about it, it really doesn't mean anything. That's the whole point. Eric from Iowa City was really hype about the anniversary. He said, "When I received the most recent Lucasfilm Fan Club magazine, number 11, I was thrilled with the cover story. I read it right away. But what was even more impressed with the article on Steven Sansweet's Star Wars collection. Wow. The first thing I experienced upon reading the article was definitely envy, for I am also a Star Wars memorabilia collector on a smaller scale. In retrospect, though, I realized how much time and money had been spent on Steve's hobby. I have spent a fair amount on trying to track down Kenner toys, with only limited success. I was at a disadvantage from the start because I was only 3 years old when the original Star Wars movie came out. Most of the collectibles I now own were given as gifts to me by my parents. I felt as if Steve really deserved what he's managed to acquire, and it was nice to know that someone with much greater success shared my hobby. Obsession? Therefore, I thank the writers at the Lucasfilm Fan Club magazine for featuring this article and Steven Sansweet for sharing his story. I hope the Force continues to be with him in his search for new collectibles.
Time
And
out.
as we all know, he was. It was.
This kid would have been.
His is such a beautiful growth trajectory.
Like this kid would have been 19.
77 plus 3 equals 80, so he's 13, right?
In this?
1990, right? Because it came out in 77.
So he was 3 in 77.
Oh, so you're right, 16.
So I mean, like, even then for 16,
Yeah.
that is...
You mean like, oh wow, what an educated young man to write a letter?
No, I meant, oh, wow, the fact that he's like, I'm invested. I just wish I had the money. I'm like, dude, you're 16.
Honestly, when you're 16 and you don't like that's the perfect age to know that you wish you had more money to spend on something.
Big time.
I get it.
And a good age to not have money to spend on it because
Right, because you would.
Here's another letter from Mike from Boca Raton.
Ooh.
Which sounds like a Star Wars place, but is actually in Florida. As a filmmaker and connoisseur of special effects, let me say how pleased I am that another 3 Star Wars films are being made. I'm sure you always get letters about how great Star Wars is, and they are warranted. Let me just say that Star Wars literally shaped my life and the way I look at movies. I've been an admirer of George Lucas ever since I was 12 years old, and hope he directs at least one of the next Star Wars movies.
This guy doesn't even
He's about to get everything he wants.
I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame and pity that George ever elected to give up directing, and although there are a lot of great directors out there, he is the only
This
one.
guy loved the prequels.
Yeah.
I know it.
He's the only one who really knows the concept behind Star Wars, the Force, and all the philosophical implications because it's his concept, and he can translate the material to the screen better than anybody. I hope to meet George Lucas and hope that I will then have a body of work great enough in quality and quantity for him to consider me to direct one of his productions, maybe even one of the new Star Wars. And he did not.
I would love to look up what Mike is. I wish we had a last name.
I do have it, but I don't want to say it on the air just in case. But I do have it. If you wanna look it up, you feel free.
I already am pulling it up. I don't know.
Oh, you've got him because we're both looking at the page. Of course. So that's Mike. But in the meantime, I'm going to read this letter from Darren from England because it's a long letter. So you guys can look while
look up our boy.
I'm writing to say just how brilliant issue number 11 of the magazine was. In fact, I think it's the best issue you've produced yet because it was wall-to-wall Star Wars. The fan forum page was even more thrilling when I saw my first letter had been published, a first for me. The Empire Strikes Back 10th anniversary coverage was superb, just as I expected it would be. The cartoons were very good and well drawn, but the interview with Irvin Kershner was just brilliant and a great surprise, as I didn't know you were doing an interview with him as part of the 10th anniversary coverage. It was very informative, especially about Kersh's career and beginnings. The interview was well laid out and 7 pages long. All the questions were well thought out. The chat shows over here could learn a few tips from that. Kersh was also very enthusiastic about the project, as all the Star Wars directors were. He believed in the characters, the Star Wars universe, and what he was doing, which made the interview even more pleasurable. He said he was impressed by the carbon freezing chamber set, which is one of my favorite sets from the films. It was also among the most complex, just like Jabba the Hutt's court in Return of the Jedi. I was a bit disappointed that he didn't like Jedi that much. Maybe he wanted to work on that one too. I'm sure he would have done it differently than Richard Marquand. When the new Star Wars films are made, I hope Kersh does work on one. He certainly is still committed to Star Wars, and it's great that he would love to do another one. Let us hope he does, after his brilliant contribution to Star Wars already. After the Empire Strikes Back interview, I didn't know what else could top it. But after I read the interview and profile of Star Wars collector Steven Sansweet, I was more than pleased. I was instantly hooked on this article as I, too, have been an avid collector of Star Wars items for many years. In fact, I'm finding more rare items every month as I go to a special market in London, which sells film memorabilia and a lot of Star Wars items. It's great that the fan club is selling items as well, especially the Dawn Post masks, which are very hard to find over here. I have to agree with Stephen when he says the TIE Bomber is the holy grail among us collectors. I still do not own one, but saw 2 in London selling at £500 each. I managed to pick up the rare IG-88 figure unboxed for £125. I am definitely obsessed with collecting Star Wars items, just as Steven says he is. Although my room is packed full of Star Wars items, I don't think I'd manage to get another floor but for the house. I liked it when you said to Steven that thousands of Star Wars fans and collectors would be dying of envy reading the article, which is quite true. I have a massive collection, but I have not even got a quarter of what Steven owns, and it will take me a few years to catch up with him. I hope you do more articles on Star Wars collectors in the future. Congratulations on issue number 11, the best issue of the Lucasfilm fan club yet produced. I shall definitely be renewing my subscription.
There is
Pablo Hidalgo. No, I'm just kidding.
There is something incredibly funny about listening to that because two things become apparent.
It's like
One,
primordial internet fan, right?
yeah, like people talk about fandom nowadays. The wording he uses is so almost like, don't screw this up. As a Star Wars fan, I love Star Wars,
Yeah.
and I know Like he's almost at the point of where fandom is online right now.
He said, I'm a collector, and he says he's one too. It's like, no, motherfucker, that's Steve Sansweet. Like,
Yeah.
he's the biggest collector.
But also, interestingly enough, I love the fact that he's like, I love Star Wars. The last issue was amazing. All of that was so good. I can't wait to renew. This issue is no Star Wars.
Maniac
None
Mansion,
at
baby.
all. Yeah.
The idea of like looking at like a pro and being, it's a very human thing that you see where people are like, oh, I suppose he would consider himself that. I'm that. And you're like, it's not really a competition. Like, you don't know this economic circumstances. Like, maybe you would be just as whatever. But it's like, it is it's like a little bit of insecurity or a lot of insecurity somehow tinged in there.
Yeah, it has like a vibe to it of modern internet fandom, but sent in a very, I guess because it was written in sort of like an old-timey feel to it. There's something about it that's quaint, but it's definitely there. We're almost there where people have like, I have opinions, and they're important.
Yes, it really does. You start to see the ownership.
Yeah. He's like, he gets Star Wars like I got it.
Yeah.
You guys want to update on Mike?
Well, here, let me. Oh, yeah, I do.
I don't want this
We're
to
not,
be
this
done.
is unconfirmed, right?
I don't know if this is 100% the exact same person from the same town with the same name with the age that lines up, but there is an obituary from 2007.
No.
It lines up and it's Boca Raton.
Did he direct Star Wars? Did he direct any of the Star Wars movies?
Oh, bud. Hey, why don't you have a Twix?
Hey, thanks.
And
No, did he direct anything?
I couldn't get anything from
You just found an
about the
obituary.
person besides just the
Just that
paper
that
or
he's
something.
dead now.
Like,
Oh, the obituary didn't say like beloved father and film auteur.
Director of
No.
Star Wars Revenge of the Sith.
but they don't leave that stuff empty if you haven't done anything, right?
Right.
I'm just kidding. I can't confirm. It's like it's the only thing I saw when I like did a couple of specific Google searches, and
Oh my.
I was just like, wait. I was on the calculator making sure, seeing if the years lined up, and it's like maybe there's another person
Shout
with
outs
the
to all the
exact
mics.
same name from the exact same place.
Shout outs to all the mics in Boca Raton. We hope
Yeah.
you guys are all directing
Be
Star Wars
safe.
films today. But speaking of that, this was in the year 1990 that this magazine is from. This article about Red Tails, basically a press release.
Yo, yeah. I mean, most of these, as you start to get further down into the issue, in the pages are just like fluff pieces.
I mean, it's cool that they announce a movie 2 years before it comes out. It's supposed to come out in 1992 in this, and it's basically Lucas is involved. He's like producing or something like that on the
but
movie.
this version never came out.
The basically what the story says is that the main point is that Lucas is producing it. It's going to be like about the Tuskegee Airmen who are the Red Tails, right?
Right.
It's like a World War II thing. If you don't know about the Tuskegee Airmen, you could do a quick Google search.
You can also
They're-
just go watch the eventual Lucas film that came out.
Well, maybe you shouldn't though, because the movie's not great. Whatever. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, this article makes a point that they're going to sit and learn from the real Tuskegee Airmen who are going to be consultants on the movie. And I don't know. I don't know for sure whether that happened in 1990 or not. But where we're at in 2012 when the movie came out regarding historical accuracy is that there was like a symposium that was held when the movie dropped to see whether or not the movie was like, accurate. And first of all, the movie as it came out is fiction. It's not.
The 2012 one.
Yeah, it's historical.
Sure.
It's historical
Yeah,
fiction.
yeah.
It's not saying it's like based on a true story.
It's like Pearl Harbor.
Yes. It's like a romanticized version, which is very different from what this movie seemed like it was going to be. And I don't know if it's just because the guys died or what, but
But this movie they're talking about never came out.
no, the point of it was that it was going to be like some kind of super accurate, finally getting the story told about these guys. And like in the final thing, they like the big things that they said were like, there were big differences in like the amount of casualties as represented in the movie. There was like way more casualties. And like this one guy who's like the leader wasn't like a desk job guy. He like got involved and fought in real life, which feels like to me, if you were like consulting on the movie, you wouldn't be like, and this guy just stayed behind the whole time if he didn't.
But also the vast majority of historical movies are just kind of made up.
Right. But this one, like the point is like, it was supposed to be like particularly accurate in this like 90s version.
Right, and the 2012 version is
That seems to be less.
it's a based on rather than
Inspired by.
yeah.
It says Kevin
Inspired by
Sullivan
real
is the
events.
writer of the one from the 90s, and that guy's not mentioned on this version. Kevin Sullivan wrote the 90s script. He traveled to Tuskegee, interviewed them, compiled data. I don't know what happened in between
Yeah,
then
I'd
and
love
now.
to know why it didn't get made until Lucas literally put his own money in and made it himself.
He was planning on doing that in the first place. It said here's from the Wikipedia. George Lucas began developing Red Tails around 1988 after he heard of the Tuskegee Airmen from a friend, George Hall, a photographer. The film was scheduled for release in 1992. Kevin Sullivan writing the screenplay, Thomas Carter directing. He conceived of it as a long, detailed narrative like Lawrence of Arabia and as a trilogy, but after multiple drafts, he decided to focus on the combat portion. He compared it to Tucker, a story too good to be true. In researching the film, he invited some of the surviving Tuskegee Airmen to Skywalker Ranch, where they were interviewed about their experiences. Lucasfilm was also given access to the original mission logs used by some of the pilots. A number of writers worked on it until 2007, when John Ridley wrote the screenplay. Maybe Samuel L. Jackson was going to act and direct. Jackson liked the script, didn't commit, and then a guy from Young Indie named Anthony Hemingway came in and directed it in 2008. And yeah, it just feels like
So it just like
he just wanted to make that movie, and I don't feel like it was the same
just took
movie.
20
honestly,
years.
it sounds like, or it doesn't sound like. I'm guessing that prequel, like Star Wars
Yeah.
prequels, took over his time.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it
Was
says
did he want to direct it or just produce it?
he was going to exec produce it, but it says here, stay tuned to the Lucasfilm fan club for more in-depth articles on the making of Red Tails.
It just never happens.
Well, but maybe,
So
maybe we'll get some of the articles.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you guys got?
I got a couple of interviews with the cast and creators of Maniac Mansion.
My dude, Joe Flaherty, right?
Yeah, Joe Flaherty, interesting guy. Like
So funny.
he like joined the Air Force and he got into like sort of like acting and comedy after that, which was like
Interesting.
just an interesting vibe. But he just talked about like he took some classes in like Pittsburgh when he was a teenager and thought it was like fun, and then just like then he went and joined the Air Force, and then after I guess he used his like GI Bill to like pay for to go to like a theatrical college and kind of like fell in love with it. He did like Second City, and then is Second City just like an improv theater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Improv
Okay.
and sketch, you know?
And then they got the SCTV show. It was hilarious because like none of us thought much of it at the time. He said because it was like a little Canadian TV show,
Just
and they
didn't
only had
realize
like
it was legendary yet.
it was like $5,000 an episode for like a television show, and just had no idea it was gonna like
So
turn into anything.
John Candy was on it. Like Rick Moranis was on it.
Yeah.
Eugene Levy was on it. All these fucking guys were on it. It's a fucking hilarious show.
Yeah, they were like, "What was it like when you were asked to star, you know, in the Maniac Mansion show?" And he's like, "Well, it's a combination of George Lucas, the Family Channel, and Atlantis Films, which, for my research, is just a Canadian broadcasting like company." And he was like, "That's a fun combination." And he had done stuff previously with Atlantis Films people, and he liked them. And he's like, "Anything George Lucas does is interesting." So like, hell yeah. And then he does point out like Eugene Levy, who he already worked with, was attached, and his two brothers were already attached to the show.
His brothers?
Yeah, he said,
Flaherty brothers?
my brother Paul, my other brother David. Well, they asked him, and he's like, then I found out who they had on board: Eugene Levy, Mike Short, and my brother Paul, and my other brother David. So I couldn't pass it up.
What the hell?
It's just interesting to be like, all this stuff is interesting. Oh, and also, you know, my
family's
attached.
involved, yeah.
yeah. You thought it was interesting because Lucasfilm is known for these crazy special effects project, but like Maniac Mansion is a show that's low on them. Apparently, I haven't seen it. I would have assumed, based on what little I know about Maniac Mansion, that it would be a lot of
Like
special
slimes
effects
and things?
But
Tentacle people?
aside from Harry the Fly, which is like a guy in a fly suit with a human head, there's not like a ton of that going on.
According to Amanda, our resident Canadian friend, it was like only in the most 30-second pitch way related to the game.
In the Eugene Levy interview, because he like created this version of it,
Right.
he talks a little bit about that. But they ask him like, "Hey, did you ever play Maniac Mansion?" And he's like, "Nope, I didn't even know that
It was a
It
game."
was based off a game till weeks after we were shooting." And he's like, "But from what I hear, it's very different from the game." And then they were just sort of like, I don't know.
Sure.
He was talking about like what he likes or dislikes from doing this kind of like show. And I guess it's kind of tough because in like SCTV, you get to highlight everybody every episode. Like everybody gets a sketch or something. And he's like, here you kind of got to like do a story. So not everybody really gets to be featured all that much. But he's like, over time, everybody will be featured, which is, you're like,
Interesting.
sketch and that kind of stuff. I get it is like a different energy. And so, yeah, like then being like, okay, well, that might be like a weird thing where you're like, all right, that was such a good bit you did. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it like probably creates a weird like hierarchy and other stuff and different characters. Because like every episode, you're 6 characters on like SCTV. So in here, it's like, I'm just going to be the one. He said, let's see, the most difficult part of the show was just like schedule. Because it's like, you got to shoot a whole episode in 3 days, one camera, it's like 12 hours a day. They have kids on the show. So it's like, they only have a couple of hours to shoot all that stuff. And although he was like thankful that there's not a lot of makeup because he has done makeup for
He just
other
gets
stuff.
to be like the fucking glasses guy in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like actually like Jeffrey Combs in this
Yeah, he was talking about like he just doesn't.
from Reanimator. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
I totally get like not wanting to sit in a makeup chair because he was talking about like times where you have to sit in the makeup chair for SCTV to be like a Viking or a beekeeper, and he's like, and they do all this stuff, and he's like, I hate it. And they're like, you shouldn't have to worry about that on Maniac Mansion. And he says, no, although tomorrow I'm going in for Japanese makeup. I tried to get out of that, but I couldn't. Apparently Fred is in a dream sequence and he's in some Godzilla film. It'll give me the chance to do some Japanese looping. And then it says laughter. I bet that's one that we all in today's were like,
simpler time.
okay, well,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay,
Simpler time.
But I don't know. He seems like a cool guy. There's not like, this is a pretty fluffy thing. They were like, do you think there'll be a second season? And he's like, I'm surprised it even got done to begin with. He's like, I approach every project with like, it's a one and done thing. And I just do that. And if it gets more, then that's great. He was like, hopefully it finds an audience. It ended up getting 3 seasons.
Went
So
for 3
it wasn't
fucking seasons.
nothing.
Yeah.
So,
It's like 70 episodes of this shit.
yeah. And then they were like, all right, well, how do you enjoy your free time? And he's like, I don't have any hobbies except for I'm a sports fan. I love the Pittsburgh Pirates and Steelers.
Hey.
He's like, I don't play sports. I just watch them. I don't do any of the exercise. I just get worked up.
Yeah. 1990, right, is when this is?
Yeah.
So he already filmed his cameo in Back to the Future 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they talk about that in this?
Yeah.
That's like what I always blow people's minds when I say, because everybody knows him as Mr. Weir, but nobody knows that he's the guy who delivers the letter from Doc Brown in the past.
Oh, and shows up. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Marty McFly! That guy, yeah.
Crazy.
And then my other one was an interview with Eugene Levy, who I guess is the creator and writer, although he doesn't, it's kind of, I'm not really sure how they do writing because by the time this interview is, he's already done all of the work he was going to do for the show or the first season or whatever. But basically they like hired him to like come in and take a look at it. And it started out as they said like Addams Family and the Munsters type show, which is what I believe I know about the game.
That's what I
Is that
imagined
it's like
that it
monsters,
was. Yeah.
supernatural. And he was like, it was strange. It was weird. I didn't like it at all. And so he told them that he's like, I don't really know that I can make this. And they were like, do whatever you want with it. And he's like, okay. So he like repitched it as this. So if you guys don't like that it's not an accurate thing, send all your
Eugene?
hate mail.
I mean,
No.
Have sex with a pie, bro.
It's kind of interesting. They were talking about like, do you like writing over acting? And it sort of is like there's pluses and minuses to both. Like he likes the like creativity and control over like writing, but sometimes it can be like if you can't think of something, you're like, am I a fraud? Like you have like that kind of shit. Like, it's a whole different thing. They asked him if he thinks that writing comedy is more difficult than drama. And he's just like, it's not more difficult because comedy has like been his whole life. He's like, what's subjective, but like comedy has been what he's been doing forever. So it's like, it's just sort of what is natural to him. He says he likes the cast of the show. He hopes that it will go on for more seasons. He likes it, but he's like, he had something lined up. So he's like, oh, I can't shoot it, but I can write it. Because I think you were saying like, why the hell wasn't he like in it?
Yeah.
And it was because he had a really small amount of time to maybe do something between stuff that he was doing. And so he did that. And then it sounds like he wasn't even there to shoot, which I know like on a lot of old shows, like their writers weren't really like
It could just be like
there.
created
Like you'd
by...
write it and then like other people would go.
Like, maybe he just wasn't showrunner. He just wasn't around.
Yeah, he just probably wasn't on the show. Like it looks like
Yeah.
he's got the created by on it.
But it also sounds like that's not an uncommon thing for shows the writers are in LA and the show is shooting whatever. And
Oh,
it's like,
100%.
as a person that has done like sketch comedy writing and acting and filming for like 15 years now, it's all the idea of like not being there to do it is like weird. It's just weird. Like
In the
that's
actual
all.
credits-
It's all like, I don't know. You know how like eating is like getting food, putting it in your mouth, like
Yeah.
chewing and swallowing. It's like multi things. So the idea of like, yeah, I wrote this show and then they went and made it.
I mean-
it's like that's just like, but being a creator of it's like it's a weird thing to me. But
It's-
it sounds like it's not.
You're right. I mean, most of the time you would think that if you write a thing, you'd go and be on set just in case you need to write something there or change something. It's just not how it works, which is weird. It's bizarre that's the case, but yeah.
And then I don't know if I can't remember if it's in interviews from this or in other stuff I've read, just like sometimes one person from the writing team will go to film and in case they need to ad lib lines or whatever, but it's like, it's just like, yeah, like not done in the same way. And it's like, oh, that's weird to me, but I get it.
It
So-
just doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense. Like you should have someone there to help. Like Eugene Levy should have been on set. Like
Yeah.
I'm with you on this.
He gets created by on all 65 episodes and writer on some of them. I don't really know how it works, but I just feel like maybe he wasn't, at this point, wasn't sure it was going to be a hit and maybe just didn't want to say like, hell yeah, ride or die. You know? I don't know.
Well, and I guess like you have like Kasdan or other writers who are like just being hit up to like look at and
polish
work
it
on
up,
everything. So you can't be like, I'm going to be like in Norway for the Hoth stuff and then whatever for like 6 months while you also have 3 other pictures you're like writing. But I mean, that just like comes down to the practicality of the business. So
Yeah.
And maybe it's just like he got called in for punch ups and like ended up doing like a whole, just had a great meeting where he made a bunch of money. You know what I mean? I don't know.
yeah, I guess like with how many hands touch scripts and stuff, it sounds like in Hollywood, it's probably not weird versus like us coming from, you are everything in like new media and YouTube. Like you are the producer, like it's your, like there's more personal attachment to it. So
Sure.
I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. It was cool. He really, I didn't realize how Steve Martin he is, where it's like, you really just didn't, he looks so similar. He hit his look young and just looks,
Just kind of was that guy.
it's just how much white slowly creeps into his like,
But him, yeah, the glasses, it's still him.
yeah.
weirdly, like these days, he's like more like jacked looking.
He got in, what the hell is the show that he just did? Schitt's Creek. I was like, are you like hotter now? Like,
Yeah,
what?
he like got like really jacked, and I know he just did a travel show where he like goes around. So I don't know. He's doing good. He's doing good. That Eugene.
Yeah. Bless.
Those are my articles.
What do you got?
Oh boy, 2 interviews. Both, neither of them. Well, one is Star Wars adjacent.
One was like, this one's for Jesse for sure.
Yeah, and then the other one was
Yeah.
kind of like, this one is because we don't have any Star Wars anything.
Yeah.
So the first one was with Denham Elliott. Everyone should know is Marcus Brody.
He probably, with any luck, he
Yeah.
probably has the Grail already.
Yeah, Rip
Does
King.
anybody speak English?
Like, he is the bumbling sidekick. Love him to death. He's even great in Great Circle.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. But anyway,
He's
obviously,
still alive?
no.
Oh,
But the character is
Brody
in.
is, yeah.
Oh,
Obviously,
I guess they didn't even have Harrison fucking Ford do them.
Yeah.
He came out on stage though.
and said it was good.
It's not the years, honey.
Everyone knows this guy's an actor, but what I don't think anyone knows is the fact that in the 40s, he literally fought the Nazis as a pilot and was shot down and was in a camp for 3 years.
Holy shit.
And in that camp, in order to occupy his time, he did plays, Shakespearean plays in the camp. And that's how he became like really excited about acting.
what?
This guy was literally fought the Nazis. And so him being the bumbling sidekick in a movie about fighting Nazis, I think is hilarious.
Whoa.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, this guy's awesome. At the time of the interview, he also lives in Ibiza, which I guess was a different place in 1990.
Like in Spain.
Yeah, his like family is there, which I think is very interesting.
Probably just because it's like he's old and fucking needs like the nicest, warmest weather.
Probably. The interview is like all these interviews, it is very fluffy. In fact, most of the questions are like, what'd you think of Harrison Ford? What'd you think of Spielberg?
Man.
He describes working with Harrison Ford exactly like you think working with Harrison Ford would be like. He says He's a very nice guy. He's a very good actor who does his job. He doesn't waste time. He does his part quickly and easily. He's played the character of Indy several times, so he knows it backwards now. He doesn't have to do research because he is, on the role because he's playing himself. And that's like what he said about Ford.
I want to give that man credit because Marcus Brody is not a joke in the first movie at all.
Right.
And in the third movie, he's like the funniest guy in the whole movie.
Hilarious.
Amazing.
So funny. Yeah. Played for laughs and even Sala in the
Yeah,
third movie.
pretty much a G in the first movie and pretty hilarious in
Saves
the third. Yeah.
Harrison Ford saves Indiana Jones' life in the first movie is played very straight. In the third movie, there's a lot of comedy. Even Indiana Jones and his dad are comedy.
Dude.
There's a little line, a funny line I saw in there in this interview where he was like, when he got approached for Indy 3, he was like, Steven Spielberg was like, oh, and it's great. Like, I have learned a lot about how to make these movies better. And he's like, I don't know. I thought he did a great job on the first one, but it feels like they're like saying an insecurity that you're like, didn't even register.
Right.
I would have done it anyways. It's weird that you were like, feel like, hey, Steven, what's going on in your head that you thought you had to say that to me? It was wonderful to be in that very popular movie, and I'm glad to be in this other will be very popular movie.
Yeah, I imagine it's one of those things. You're absolutely right. That's all in Spielberg's head. But in saying it out loud, everyone's like, is that what you think?
Like,
that
what
the
do you-
first movie sucked?
It's rad.
Yeah. Then the next interview was with Clive Revel, who is the original OG Emperor in Empire Strikes Back.
This was cool.
Yeah, this was very cool, except, again, incredibly short.
Yeah.
It seemed like they didn't really know what to ask
I
him
don't
because
think
he's
this
in
guy, like,
exactly
works,
one
yeah.
scene.
He says 40 words?
And so apparently, the reason why he was the Emperor is because he knew Irvin Kershner, and I guess they were old friends. And he asked him to come down and record to a recording studio for a small role. And apparently he was shown a bunch of characters from Star Wars. And he said he saw this guy, Jabba the Hutt, and really wanted to play Jabba's voice. He thought that'd be amazing. Kershner was like, no, dude, we want you to be the Emperor. And he's like, all right, well, I'll think about it and come up with a voice. And they're like,
They
no.
were already
Yeah, dude.
thinking about well, I guess
I mean,
Jabba
Jabba's in
is
the first
referenced
one.
in the first one, but like, why for Empire would he be like?
Well, I mean, you could see a lot of places where he might be involved in the situation because of Han Solo, right?
I guess
I
there's
don't know.
so many drafts thrown out. I wish.
By the time
God, I wish I could know what it was like.
By the time they're working on Empire, they already know there's going to be a third movie. Like that's the difference between.
I mean, they're sending them to Jabba, so they definitely have to show Jabba.
Yeah, that's the difference between like Star Wars 1 and these other two. Is like this movie production was like, oh, we have billions of.
It really
it's
is a grand
more like.
payoff.
Did he see pictures of Jabba as he was originally? Well, no, actually, if he's doing the voice and they didn't have that actor, that
probably
from
saw
the
that
first
Yeah,
one.
no, they definitely.
But was it
saw
like,
the yellow
well, he's going to
motherfucker.
Jabba,
Yeah.
so in a version of the script, we see Jabba's palace in Empire, or if he got pre-stuff from the other one. I'm just curious what
Not a clue.
it to me excites like the possibilities of where the Empire script went in other versions.
I don't know enough about how those movies were made to get like in relation to each other to tell you, but I'll tell you this. How Jabba looked has been a topic of discussion since the movies were in production.
He let himself go
What's
from the
it-
comics to the
He
movie.
was like a fucking dude. He looked like a French Canadian. He looked like Charbonneau from
Yeah,
the Lewis
yes,
and Clark party.
yes.
And then he fucking looks like a yellow walrus in the comics. And then he was maybe going to be a British guy. Like we don't know.
Yeah.
And then he became like a fat ass slug. So who knows what the hell happened with Jabba the Hutt?
Yeah, and they asked him, hey, man, we want you to be the Emperor. And he said, sure, let me come up with a voice for it. And they're like, no, just your voice is fine. And so that's what they used. And the rest of the interview, like I said, is kind of like about his life and how now, at least at the time of the interview, he lives in Sherman Oaks. And he lives right next to John Dykstra and Kevin McCarthy. I assume Kevin McCarthy is an actor. I do not recognize that name.
Kevin McCarthy is somebody really famous. Hold on.
Yeah, it's an actor who died, I think, in like the mid 2010s, I think, or maybe exactly 2010.
Yeah, it's the dude from Body Snatchers
There you go.
and Death of a Salesman.
And so
He was Biff.
Yeah,
He's like an older gentleman. Like I recognize this guy, but when I recognize him, he's like this old. He's like in 1956, looking young. He looked kind of like Orson Welles.
Oh my God, he looks a lot. Yes.
he definitely, the guy was living his life out here in LA, having a good time. That's really kind of the interview. There was a great quote though, where he was talking about getting to know people and how he gets to know people and whether he trusts people. And he said, 2 questions I always ask myself when I get to know people. Would you buy a used car from this person? And could you be shipwrecked on a deserted island with this person? Which I thought was super interesting about how he judges human beings. He's like, do I want to get to know them? Well, which of these 2 scenarios do they fit in? Like, would they do any of these things for me? And I was like, all right, that's interesting. And that's pretty much it. That's who the guy was.
Did he talk about like, because he wasn't the fit, like,
There is nothing about the process of him being the emperor with the screen. Like, there's not, literally they ask him, he says that Irvin Kershner said, come on down. He said he filmed it, and then the rest of it is straight up like, I live in Sherman Oaks, and I'm having a, like, it isn't about the process of filming at all.
because
At
in
all.
the Irvin Kershner interview, they asked him about, I guess there was a whole conspiracy theory that Obi-Wan was the emperor.
Hilarious.
And they're like, the face is Alec Guinness, and it's like, nope, that was like completely created by composite. So I was wondering if he was like, they already had a face, so it was the voice, but there's no.
They don't even talk about it.
That
looks
face
so
is so
weird.
bizarre.
It's very effective at being weird.
Like
Creepy, yeah.
upsetting, yeah. Not how it looks now. Not at all.
No, it's literally just Eamon Dermott.
Yeah. Anyway, there you go, guys.
Hey,
12 issues down. We're still, I think the switch
Dirty
over,
dozen.
I think the switch over to the actual Star
probably
Wars
that dude
Insider.
who wrote in, he writes back again. He's like, I just gave you money. No. And there's no Star Wars.
He, no,
Plenty of merch, though.
that happens in the next 10 issues. Something like that. In the next 10 issues, we switch over to being the Star Wars Insider. And I also noticed that they stopped giving us seasons because I think it becomes monthly much sooner than that.
Do you think by the time the Insider ends, it'll end with like, see you in the prequels?
The magazine?
Like the Insider, not like the Star Wars focus, but this
Oh, the Lucasfilm
fan club.
It's going to end in 10 issues or so. So I would guess in 1990 that it's going to start leading up to the blitz for like Del Rey books and that and the
Sure,
and
okay.
the,
I
the
believe that.
Power of the Force, Kenner toys, like when they put out the face versions of the VHSs with Leonard Maltin at the top.
Yeah.
I feel like that push is like that push. I think the Star Wars Insider is wrapped up in that. If I had to guess, around the time of Heir to the Empire, which I believe is 90.
Based on, we'll know because they just show all their merch. So the moment
They
that's
really
for sale,
do.
it's going to be in.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's right around then. Yeah, because
And those all ship with their own little merch catalogs too.
Heir to the
Man.
Empire came out in June of 1991.
Oh, this will go on past that for sure.
Well, this becomes monthly. So no, like we're in summer of 90. So in the 10 issues, it becomes a Star Wars Insider. That's about right.
all right.
That's about right. Yeah.
We'll see.
So 10 more of these to go before we change over.
Oh boy.
I'm hoping it's around the same time as Heir to the Empire,
I feel like it's like,
like in our show.
yeah, I guess if it's monthly, it would be probably, it might go up past Air, and then because of its success, they're like, we got to do Star Wars again, guys. Only
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah, we'll see. But
I don't know.
I think Star Wars became the main focus of Lucasfilm again around this time.
Yes. for
That's
sure.
why we're seeing Red Tails press release and then no Red Tails for 22 years.
Yep.
So I think that's what it is. But we'll see. Keep your droids close. Keep your droids close. Keep your droids close.
But if your
And,
droids turn out
just-
to be sentient spaceships,
don't even
Keep a real close eye on them.
yeah.
You know,
Check in with your droids, guys. Make
see what's up.
Yeah, check in with your droids. That's our new. You just
check
make sure.
in with your droids.
make
Check
sure
in
that-
with your droids.
Yeah,
Hey.
vibe check on the droids.
3PO, what's going? Hey,
How are you doing? How are you doing, man? You never know. Anyway, see you guys later. Bye.
All right, SWAT Box, you're clear for landing. Inside the Insider is edited by Alex Del Campo and Alex Faciane. The theme song is Jupiter, Bringer of Jollity by Gustav Holst. Thanks for listening.